Good news on Metro roadways. No accidents or breakdowns to report. And the construction delay on 24 westbound around 840 and Almaville Road totally cleared out now. They've got the cones up and traffic moving freely. I'm Jay Harper.
537 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. And welcome on in. It is Wednesday. It is August 19th. Hope you're doing well. I'm Dan Mandis along with Jay Harper. He is in for Joan Jones. And Jay, say hello to Joan. She is apparently listening out in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Can I just say this? Joan, we all love you. If you're listening to our show on vacation, I'm sorry. It must not be a very good vacation. I try not to listen, like when I'm not around, like when I'm off and doing whatever. I try not to listen just because I really do try to get away. But do you know what I believe, Jay?
What is your belief?
Do you know what I believe, Sam? I believe that Joan Jones is a big fan of mine.
Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it is, Jay. She misses listening to me. That's what it is. She misses. I don't have no idea. Anyway, it is time for in lieu of Joan's World. It's time for Sam's World.
Yep. Sam's World. Party time. Excellent. Jones out of 10.
Yeah. I wonder if, since Joan is listening, Joan, is that the first time that you've actually heard Sam? We nailed it, by the way. Me and Joan were joking before she went on vacation. You think Sam will come up with his own little jingle? And sure enough, Sam came up with his little jingle. But you know what? Yesterday went off sort of without a hitch, so let's go. What do we got as far as Sam's World goes? And by the way, I've not heard any of these stories. Go.
All right, so it's another example of why you want to pass the SAVE Act. These guys, I forget their sourcing here, muckraker journalism, literally, it's what they call themselves. They are going into a voting center in Minneapolis, pretending that some of these constituents that they're bringing in are literally from Hamas.
Guys were actually members of Hamas. They got here recently. I don't really know their citizenship status. They're from the Gaza Strip, and they want to vote today.
That's okay?
I can vote, right?
Correct. If he's vouching, you can vouch for up to 8 people.
My friends here would need to show what?
If you're vouching for them, they wouldn't need to show anything.
They don't need to show anything.
Is that like a common thing for
there.
people?
Isn't that the craziest darn thing? So, and this is in Minnesota.
Yep.
Now, we've already, part of this, Cam Higbee went in with some Muslim gear on as well. He did. This is from James O'Keefe. And I think Cam Higbee either was working with James O'Keefe or they were working together. But we've actually known about this whole vouching thing for a long time. I think, didn't you and I, so me and somebody were going back and forth on this yesterday. This is actually an old story, but now James O'Keefe and Cam Higbee, they're sort of making this story go viral. Mm-hmm. So we talked about this a long time ago where in Minnesota, you can basically, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. If I'm a person, I can bring in 8 other people and say, oh yeah, this is Muhammad 1, Muhammad 2, Muhammad 3, Muhammad 4, and they can all vote. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen.
Up to 8 people.
Up to 8 people.
You can just vouch for them. You can verbally go, yeah, they're with me. What? That's insanity.
That is insanity. And so what James O'Keefe is doing and what Cam Higbee is doing is they went to this polling place and to bring in these guys, and they took it a step further and said, oh, yeah, these guys are from Hamas, and they would like to vote. Cool. And I guess it was okay.
I don't understand the kowtowing and basically foot worshiping that goes on in that state when it comes to people moving in there to vote for their own interests. They're not voting for the interest of the Christian community down the road or the Jewish community down the road. They are coming in to vote for the interest of the Muslim community that is taking over the area.
Well, listen, and we've talked about this before, where the Muslims, they're not having to use, tanks and weapons to take over regions. All they're doing is using it's weaponized immigration is what it is. And so they come in and then what do? They vote. How do you think somebody like an Ilhan Omar ends up in the House of Representatives? And she's got a job for life because the Somalians will never vote her out because she's one of them. And so they're seeing this in Minnesota clearly, and probably other places across the country as well. But that is what's happening. It is weaponized immigration. I've actually got another story on weaponized immigration that I'm going to do a little bit later on. I bet you, Sam, you know about what's going on in Poland. Do you see what's going on in Poland?
I see some excellent border defense going on in Poland.
Oh, wait till you... Okay, so we'll do that in the 6 o'clock hour because you, in particular, will love what is going on in Poland. Okay, so in New York City, Mayor Mamdani strikes again. Go ahead.
All right, so, yeah, you remember how he dropped basically this hit list of names of people that, some of whom had second houses.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't appear to be the right video.
No. But go ahead and tell the story anyway.
Well, I said to go with the second email.
Mm-hmm. It is a second email. You got the wrong... Go ahead. It's fine. Just go ahead. So basically what's happening is they had a huge town hall meeting in the city of New York. And it's basically a committee hearing. And they're talking about, and they're hearing people's stories about this hit list that Mamdani put out. Remember what the hit list is. This hit list is where Mamdani said, if you've got a second home worth $5 million or more, well, then we're coming after you. And his administration puts out this entire list of people, and a lot of them were his supporters, that supposedly had these second homes. And it turns out that the list contained people, they had homes that were not worth $5 million. That was number one. And number two, that these were people that were essentially doxxed, and it wasn't their second home, and it wasn't worth $5 million. And so all these people came in to start going after Mamdani, and Mamdani didn't even have the testicular fortitude to show up. Wouldn't even show up. From what I understand, nobody within his administration shows up to this meeting because he knew what he was in for. Mamdani knew that he was going to be just righteously criticized, as he should have been.
Yep.
And here's the other thing, is that he still hasn't answered the criticisms. That's the other point. And part of what the criticism could be, and probably is in New York, is that he was so incredibly arrogant about it, where he's got a video and he puts his grimy face right up to the camera, knocks on the camera, and he says, you might want to check your mailbox. You've got mail if you're
you're talking about
$5 million. Yeah.
Are you talking about the one where he's outside of that?
Outside of the billionaire's home.
Penthouse.
Yep.
So I sent the link for the council meeting. That's my bad. I was trying to edit. For the audio audience. If you're watching on YouTube, you see on the screen, this is just how Japanese police handled a migrant. They rolled him up like a sushi roll. But then I realized the people listening in the car at home are not going to necessarily get that. But even the Democrats in New York are fed up with this.
All right, so listen to this. This is Camilla Hanks, and she is who is Camilla Hanks, real quick?
New York City Council. I don't exactly know who she's representing in that aspect, but she kind of goes off on how you pointed out, didn't show up for this.
All right, here we go.
So how the administration published more than 900,000 names and addresses showed me that this is how the administration feels about homeowners in this great city, that this is something that we need to be ashamed of. A hit list of the haves and the have-nots, a scarlet letter.
They should show up and answer basic questions about the rollout.
Somehow today, the administration couldn't find its way within the same building to City Hall to answer questions about it. I find that to be totally unacceptable. I think New Yorkers are entitled to ask a very simple question. What are they hiding?
So residents taking issue with the city posting a public list of names and addresses.
I didn't know it was that many names on there. 900,000 people.
Yeah.
But he has time for this. So the next link I sent you ties right into this. So he doesn't have time to show up for a city council meeting, which the mayor should be at, especially when he's been requested to be there to answer some questions.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got time, and the memes are rolling out. Again, I'll harp on South Park. There's a comment on this video that is hilarious. But, the mayor likes to ride his bike around New York for publicity purposes.
All right, so this is Mamdani, and he's walking through the hallway. Is that of the governor's mansion, or what is this?
His office, People pointing out how he doesn't wear a helmet when he goes biking in New York City.
Oh, okay.
Those are all comments from that.
So there's a little video of him, and he's riding his bike around New York in, by the way, a three-piece suit, but no helmet.
You're right. I've got to do better.
So now apparently he's getting a helmet. Yep.
Safety first, New York.
Yeah, how funny is it, by the way, just if I may, safety first, New York, as he wants to gut the police.
Yeah.
And he wants New York to become a sanctuary city. And then he, of course, puts on the helmet. He says, see you out there. All right, so anyway, Mamdani.
He has time to do these kind of stunts, which, I get it's a short clip, but it probably took them 30 minutes to an hour to film everything and edit it and upload it. Like, that's your tax dollars at work, New Yorkers.
I think Mamdani, I think he just clearly enjoys these kinds of videos, and he enjoys being sort of, I don't know, what would you call it? He enjoys being a social media star.
Yeah.
Is what he enjoys being.
When he failed as a rapper, this was the next best thing, I guess. But the communism continues, heading down into Boston. Michelle Wu has decided that she's going to publish her own list as it pertains to people who have businesses and how they potentially, in no way guaranteed, how they could potentially be working with ICE.
We, as a city, will be filing another FOIA request for any responses that have come in from the Boston area so that we know what information they may be sifting through. We strongly oppose any expansion of their efforts here and would encourage and will be reaching out to property owners to try to make sure that they're not adding to a surge of unlawful and dangerous activity.
You oppose, but can the city actually block it?
So we've signed an executive order around public property, as have 7 other surrounding municipalities, as has the governor. We cannot block private property, but we will be contacting property owners to make sure they understand our view on how dangerous this could be for our residents, and that this is not a way to make our community safer.
What is she, dangerous? What is she talking about?
So basically, this is to keep ICE out of Boston and out of Massachusetts. But if you're a private property owner, and one of the examples earlier on in this newscast is someone that's got 250 parking spaces on private property, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And it could house some vehicles. You could put a fence up around it. You could act as a temporary staging area if you are a federal agency doing sweeps throughout Boston and the rest of Massachusetts. But what she's going to do is she's going to make sure people in the city office know who you are, they know your name, they know where you live, so that you are discouraged from aiding the federal government in any capacity, even if you're being offered some kind of stipend to do so with your own property.
It's interesting how they seem to be concerned about some laws, but not others, right? So she's all about, ensuring, trying to make sure that their local law enforcement doesn't interact or aid ICE, but they don't seem at all concerned that all of these people that have broken our immigration laws are coming to the sanctuary city and the sanctuary state of Boston, Massachusetts. It's like, I wish I could say that I understood why it is that people vote for these kinds of policies. Like, literally, I have a hard time understanding the logic.
They're blinded by the emotion by it, right? They're going to strip members of our community from us. They're going to unlawfully detain them. They're going to disappear them. And so they play on that emotion. And so you feel guilted into, well, I do well in my career. Why shouldn't I pay more in taxes to fund other people's living?
Yeah, well, that's insanity. Okay. Unfortunately, that's the way that it goes. So last one.
Well, we can skip this one. That was part of what I was trying to edit out because I actually found something more interesting. This is old. You've got the other link that says Spring Hill accident on it.
Okay. Let's see here. Stand by. Spring Hill accident. Tell us what happened in Spring Hill.
Well, this is yesterday on I-65. I'm sure Ken Weaver was all over it here at Super Talk, but multiple semis involved in this accident. And as we had something happen on the morning show not too long ago when it came to semis and thing is catching on fire. It turned into a crazy fireball on the side of the interstate. And Jay, correct me if I'm wrong on that. Were there any fatalities involved?
Yes, one person was killed.
It seemed like it would be a hard thing to come out alive from. It just devastated. I mean, looks like it's burning hotter. It looks like there's more involved than what we saw out in, I think, Portland a couple weeks ago. And this had the interstate shut down, obviously, for a good while in Spring Hill the other day.
How long was it shut down? Do we know?
I mean, this is probably, I think this happened around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think it was shut down like 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. And that's Spring Hill. I mean, I used to live in Spring Hill. I know all about Spring Hill and I-65. That is a bad place for it to be shut down.
Yeah. Jay, do you recall how many exact semis were involved? I think it was 4?
I believe you are correct.
Yeah, and something caused one of them to burst into instant flame. It just crazy visual. Prayers for anyone that was injured in that, of course. But
we see a lot of semis, of course, on fire. We get a lot of semis that come through Nashville. It feels like, cross-country truckers are always coming through Middle Tennessee. You've got 40, you've got 65, 24 as well.
Yep.
So we see a lot of that.
I want to get to this last clip to end on a fun note.
Okay.
Everyone will appreciate this.
Is this Billy Idol?
Well, yes. So I love the internet. I love what people can do.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has taken a Billy Idol song and decided to make a fun little animated short out of it. So Billy's out there trying to get his lawnmower started.
It's a nice day to
Okay. I actually think that's funny. I get the joke.
start again.
Very good.
Because the mower dies again.
The mower dies. And then you want it to start again. It's a good day to mow.
Exactly.
All right, very good. 5:54, and Jay has the news coming up at 6. Jay.
Yes, sir, Dan. So where does this proposal to limit right turn on red in Nashville currently stand? We'll have an update and also a very disturbing story on a woman who turned up missing in Vegas on her vacation. We'll get to that at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk and 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you are doing well. Madonna's back in the news? Apparently, Madonna was part of the MTV Music Awards.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me she was on an episode of Botched.
She looks like she's she is like a walking version of Botched.
Yeah.
You can't even, she looks like misshapen.
I have
all of this plastic surgery.
I have so much respect for Pamela Anderson, aging naturally in the face, right?
Yeah.
No makeup or that either. Like I think that's true beauty and carrying yourself very well. And I feel very bad for Madonna.
There's something about, growing old gracefully. And Madonna, it's just like, she's got like 50 different body parts that have been replaced over the years. You know what I mean, Jay?
Yeah, I'm with Sam. I mean, like Sally Field. I mean, she has allowed herself, she's got the wrinkles and stuff, but she's still a very pretty lady. I mean, she's just, has earned every wrinkle she's got. And she's proud of the fact that, hey, I am what I am, as Popeye would say.
So anyway, so Madonna, I guess she was part of MTV. Do the young kids even know who Madonna is?
Probably.
They
she
must
won't stop
if it's
touring.
MTV. She's out touring, yeah. And I think maybe the younger singers that are out there that cater to the 14, 15, 16-year-olds, they probably know all about Madonna, probably maybe pay some homage to Madonna. I have no idea. My brain is cramping trying to figure out Madonna, so we're just going to move on. 6 o'clock, Super Talk 99.7. Okay, I've got incredibly, I'm not going to say it's funny news because it's not funny news, but there's some news out of Poland that you are going to want to hear. It's all straight ahead. It's Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
It is 6 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll have traffic and weather here in just a moment. A proposal to restrict right turns on red in Nashville is being scaled back ahead of its next Metro Council vote. Metro Council member Sandra Sepulveda said Tuesday a substitute version would focus on Connect Downtown, Nashville next Tier 1 areas, and school zones. The original proposal would have applied throughout Nashville's entire urban services district. The change comes as Nashville continues to struggle with pedestrian safety. Sepulveda said approximately 20 pedestrians and cyclists have been killed on Nashville streets so far this year. The original proposal faced concerns about traffic and enforcement. Supporters argue the narrower approach would improve safety while limiting the impact on drivers. The family of a woman who went missing in Las Vegas more than a week ago says they're now getting disturbing messages from her phone.
63-year-old Alyssa Goods was in Vegas visiting a friend who says she left to go to a nearby drugstore on August 8th and never came back. Goods' niece kept calling her on cell phone. Days later, someone answered, hung up, and started texting, claiming to be Goods and asking for Bitcoin. The family says they've gotten nowhere with Las Vegas police.
Reaching out to the detective only for her to tell me my aunt wasn't a priority.
Las Vegas police telling our New York station that the case is an active missing persons investigation.
That's ABC's Faith Abube. Market numbers. We've got the report. It's brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. They're online at beaconcm.com. Here is Jim Ryan.
The Standard & Poor's posted its third consecutive daily loss Tuesday, giving up about 0.7%. Losses were heavier for the tech-intensive NASDAQ, while the Dow Jones surrendered 116 points to close at 53,343. Shares in Spain's Diolio soared 17% this morning amid an intensifying takeover battle for the world's largest olive oil company. Another Spanish company has offered $545 million for Diolio. It was down to the wire, but President Trump has delayed hefty new tariffs on more than $20 billion in Canadian imports. After talks with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, Trump posted that the two countries have a tentative trade deal in place. Buy now, pay later for groceries? The New York Times reports that Americans increasingly are using short-term financing to pay for essentials like gas and rent. $160 billion in pay-later loans were taken out last year, twice as many as 2023.
Stock futures before the opening bell. The Dow down 1, the S&P down 0.5, NASDAQ, it's down 53. That's the latest news, traffic and weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Thank you, Jay. 604, Dan Mandis here. If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, friends. You can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. That's right. With Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. Now, one local homeowner just got $100,000 paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 every single month. And it does get better. By the way, there is no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, and no long drawn-out process, and no closing costs. You might even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. Call them. It's 615-499-5780. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com for qualified homeowners. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
A couple of crashes to report. However, at this moment, not really affecting traffic all that much. But here we go. 65 southbound, just before the split there at exit 86, we have a crash. Also out in Bellevue, 40 eastbound at exit 196. That crash has been moved over to the right shoulder. I'm Jay Harper.
.606 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends and welcome on in. It is Wednesday. It is August 19th. We've got a lot going on. By the way, a DSA upset in Florida. We'll talk about this. It's a big win for the Democrat Socialists, and we'll get into that straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News. I do want to play this. I'm going to call this a feel-good comment from a Polish politician. Now, if you don't know, Poland is one European country that hasn't allowed in waves of illegal Muslim migrants. Now, remember, in Europe, all of the Syrian refugees that flooded into Europe, they eventually came in. They've been coming in from other places as well, not only Syria, but you've got Somalia, Sudan, bunch of Muslim countries. This happened years ago. It does continue. And now we are seeing, as you know, that Europe has been taken over by Muslims. Poland said, not us. Poland said there's no way that we were going to allow this to happen to us. So this is the feel-good clip that I'm talking about. Now, this guy is from the Law and Justice Party in Poland, and he was asked about their anti-immigration stance.
Why do you support immigration? Because I want my future daughter to be alive, not raped and killed. Is that enough? Is it a good reason? We don't have illegal migrants. It's not quite protected. We did not let them in. None. Zero. It's because you are afraid of what you're becoming? No, we're not afraid. We're smart. We are brave men. Look at me. I'm not afraid of anything. We are brave. We are strong. We are not politically correct. We take care of our families. Why do you support immigration?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. He is like unabashed, unapologetic. He says, no, we're not going to let all of these Muslims into Poland. And Poland has been very consistent on this. Now, we've all heard what has been going on in Europe with the grooming gangs and the rapes and the murders. And this guy is just calling it out. And by the way, what Poland is saying is we're full. And by the way, they're not taking in any refugees because they actually do have some refugees that they have been taking in. Do you know where those refugees are from? Those refugees are from Ukraine. And you know what the Ukrainian refugees are? The Ukrainian refugees are essentially Christian. That's right. So they've taken in thousands. Actually, I think it's like over 1 million Ukrainian refugees, 1.5 million Ukrainian refugees. And so they're not saying no to refugees, just refugees from Belarus. So what's going on basically with Poland is Belarus is right next to Poland and they share a border. And so Belarus is where a lot of these Somalians and all of these, these Muslim refugees have been trying to get in from Belarus. But ultimately, you know what's happening? What's happening in Poland is that Russia has been trying to destabilize Poland. And so what Russia's been doing is working with Belarus because Belarus and Russia, they're close allies. And so Russia has been saying to Belarus, try to get in all of those Muslim refugees into Poland so that Poland will be destabilized. That's what they're trying to do. And Poland is like, no. We're not falling for that. Because y'all know that Russia has had their sights on Poland for, years and years. Russia is trying to use migration as a weapon against Poland to weaken Poland with this crush of migrants, particularly these migrants who are very disruptive, to say the least, in Europe, which is what we've seen. So this is what happened at the Polish border. And I don't know about you. I find this fun. And you can hear it for people listening on the radio. This is on the Belarus-Poland border where you've got these migrants that are trying to sneak into Poland. And Poland is like, nope.
This is the Poland army. We are trying to go. We are not doing anything. Shoot me. This is the Poland army. I'm going. Please, no.
Listen, be careful what you say when you say, oh, yeah, go ahead and shoot me. And the Polish army is like, okay, if that's what you want, we'll gladly shoot you. And they did. By the way, they're rubber bullets. They're not real bullets.
Well,
what?
The same gentleman that you played the clip of earlier, I forget how you pronounce his name, something fancy.
The funny thing is I didn't. I just said he's from this particular party. I didn't try to pronounce his name because it was really hard, but go ahead.
Well, he's one of the political leaders in Poland, but they had an incident where a migrant crossed through the fence and killed one of their soldiers. So then they authorized the use of live rounds, obviously, in certain situations. But, you got what you asked for, buddy.
Yeah.
That's the warning shot. After that, it's going to be a live round.
This dude said, shoot me. And so he shot him. From what I understand, it was a rubber bullet. Apparently, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It's a 15-second clip. Bottom line is, my opinion, they're trying to sneak into Poland and Poland has literally said, you're not welcome, then do what you need to do, man. I'm just saying. I love the guy from the Law and Justice Party. And they're unabashed. And they're not going to be apologetic for wanting their sovereignty protected and protecting their border. That's what we need to do. That's what we're doing right now, as a matter of fact. Remember this notion of weaponized migration. I've been covering this for quite some time now. That is what Russia is trying to do to Poland. That is what has happened to Europe by and large, and that is what is happening here in America. Weaponized migration. I've got that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is 6:15 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. By the way, Super Text line very active this morning, 615-737-9986. Time to check the roads on WTN. Very good. As far as your weather for today, it looks like, as far as your weather, we are going to have a high of about 90 degrees and partly cloudy. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Weaponized migration. So I've been talking about this for a while now. And so what was happening under Joe Biden is we had all of these, and by the way, audio only here in this segment. We had all of these bad guys coming in from Venezuela, coming into our country. And I played audio from a guy named Joseph Humeyer. Now, he's a national security scholar, and he's been studying this idea that our enemies, they are weaponizing migration to bring down our country. He actually embedded with some of these migrant caravans a couple of years ago under Biden.
What I discovered back then in Guatemala is that the Central American caravans were planned, financed, organized, and steered by state and non-state actors to cause chaos in Guatemala, Mexico, and eventually the United States. How do I know this? I know this because I embedded with the Central American caravans and interviewed hundreds of migrants, but more importantly, saw firsthand who was behind this. It was a series of politicized NGOs from Honduras who were receiving money from U.S. and European charities, but more importantly, we're getting guidance and direction from an adversarial nation state.
Right. I mean, how many times have we been talking about these NGOs, these non-governmental entities, and they actively work to bring in these illegal aliens into our country. And you might say, oh, well, they have the best of intentions. They're trying to help out, troubled migrants across the world to come find a better life here in America. Whatever. Perhaps some of these NGOs, their heart is in the right place, but not all of them. You do have these groups inside America, America-hating groups that want to destroy us from within. Working with these groups in other countries like Venezuela to bring millions of these migrants into America. And just like Russia has been trying to destabilize Poland, China, and Iran, and yes, Russia as well, we're working with Venezuela to destabilize America with this weaponized migration. Certainly under Joe Biden. Here's more from this Joseph Humeyer.
That state is the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, who worked with the Honduran NGO known as Pueblos Sin Fronteras, which is Spanish for People Without Borders, who then worked with a series of NGOs and charities inside America, notably in California and Chicago, to create the Central American caravans. Now, this begs the question, why would the Venezuelan government care about illegal immigration? The answer is because Venezuela is a proxy of China, Russia, and Iran. They all understand that mass migration can be employed as a weapon of asymmetric warfare to erode national borders, steal sovereignty, and eventually have the United States collapse from within.
Destabilizing America. That's what it's all about. And it feels like they've succeeded. By the way, the greatest hits of American enemies, right? You've got China, Russia, Iran, and they're trying to take over America or destroy America through mass chaos at the borders. And so you've got all of these people coming over here, many bad guys sent over by the cartels. And we saw people come in from China. We saw people come in from Russia. We saw people come in from, you name the America-hating country. Yeah, Donald Trump was the bad guy for wanting to limit immigration from some of these, and I'm going to air quote this, Muslim-majority countries. And it wasn't Muslim-majority countries. They were countries that were overridden with terrorism. And a lot of Muslims in the country, and terrorism was what these countries essentially were exporting to America. That's what Donald Trump was trying to stop. And so remember what's happening with this weaponized migration or weaponized immigration is that they're trying to manipulate America with all of these people. Again, this concept of weaponized migration.
Remember, China's whole warfare strategy is based on submission, to have America give up without fighting. Far from a problem of root causes derived from socioeconomic hardship, natural disasters, or high levels of insecurity, which is abundant in all parts of the world, the center of gravity of the U.S. border and immigration crisis that enabled no fewer than 14 million illegal aliens to enter the United States in just 4 years is weaponized migration, an academic concept that has empirical evidence and an abundance of political science literature behind it. Weaponized migration is when state and non-state actors catalyze, manipulate, and or induce mass migration to achieve political and geopolitical objectives. Weaponized migration suggests that criminal illegal aliens inside the United States do not merely arrive here by accident. They were sent here by America's enemies and adversaries.
See, this is why the midterms are so important, and why Donald Trump, what he did at the border, is so critically important. Because it's not just the bordering countries that have migrants, but when our borders are wide open, our enemies try and destabilize our country through Venezuela. So now, of course, we've taken over Venezuela. That is good. But the bottom line is that we could end up right back in that place. Wide open borders, illegal immigration, weaponized immigration, and our enemies trying to destabilize America. And who needs, I think I said this when Biden was in office, who needs China? Who needs Russia? Who needs North Korea and Iran? Who needs Venezuela? When we're talking about destabilizing America, who needs our enemies when we've got the Democrat Party allowing it to happen, inviting it to happen? That is why the midterms are so incredibly important. It is 6:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jay's got the news coming up at 6:30. Jay.
Yes, sir, Dan. Rather scary, and I do mean scary mistake at a Nashville hospital. We'll get into that. And many Nashville residents can relate to what some Indiana residents are dealing with currently. We'll explain that as well at the bottom of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's actually at the top and the bottom of the hour during Nashville's Morning News. We also do it at the quarter hours, too. Actually, we do traffic and weather basically every 10 minutes here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mattis here from Mark Spain Real Estate. If you are stuck in a home that you can't sell, call my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate. In my neighborhood, there's several homes. And they've had for sale signs in the front yard for, it's been months. That's what's going on here in Nashville and Middle Tennessee. Homes are on the market for a lot longer. If you need to get out of your home and you've got to do it quickly, you've got to call my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate. Their guaranteed offer does keep you in control. You're going to get out of your home fast and with maximum profit. Mark Spain Real Estate has over 72,000 clients. They are the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. 13,000 five-star reviews cannot be wrong. Mark Spain Real Estate is the company that I recommend for selling your home. So call them right now and get out of your home fast and move on to the next chapter in your life. 855-299-SOLD is the phone number, 855-299-SOLD, or go to markspain.com to get that guaranteed offer on your home today. And start packing. Dan Mandis here. Back to school time means back to busy schedules and homework and activities. The last thing you need to worry about is your HVAC. So let Busy Bee do that for you with big time savings. Now, here in the month of August, you schedule any HVAC maintenance or repair, and you get a free dryer vent cleaning. Now, that is added safety and one less thing that you've got to worry about. If you need a new HVAC system, buy a high-efficiency unit, and you'll be entered to win Busy Bee's Healthy Hive giveaway. That is a $1,500 sponsorship for the local school of your choice. You can also gift your favorite teacher or your favorite staff member a Beehive membership as well. Gotta love Busy Bee. They're always involved in the community. You can also, by the way, get a $500 gift card with qualifying whole home repipes or mainline replacements. And with approved credit, enjoy 0% financing for 18 months. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. That phone number is 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. Visit them anytime online. BusyBeeHVAC.com. BusyBeeHVAC.com. .628 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, so coming up, as if we don't need more reasons to love Sophie Cunningham, I've got a great Sophie Cunningham story coming up. Also, apparently Nashville wants to limit drone use, not flock cameras, but drone use as it relates to fighting crime. I've got that story for you as well at 7:05. Wednesdays with Wilson. Brian Wilson is going to be joining us at 7:35 later on this morning. State Representative Jason Zachary is going to be with us. He's going to talk about his fight against property taxes here in the state of Tennessee and what he's going to try to do in the next legislative session. So all that coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN for all the folks that are sending us notes on the Super Text line, asking about YouTube this morning. So my camera is not working. Sam's camera and Jay's camera is working. You can still see the video to the audio that I'm playing on the radio. Literally, the only thing that you cannot see is me. You're welcome. Hey, by the way, I do have an event coming up. It's going to be, I'm partnering with Feed America First. I love these folks. Feed America First. They're in Murfreesboro. And I'm going to be emceeing an event, and they are celebrating 25 years of community giving. Again, Feed America First. It's going to be at the View at Fountains in Murfreesboro. I'm going to be the MC there. Senator Marsha Blackburn is going to be the special guest. And so we do have some tickets available. So if you'd like to go, it's going to be a lot of fun. Got a meal in the whole thing. FeedAmericaFirst.com. It is happening on August 25th. That is going to be a week from Thursday in Murfreesboro. Feed America First again, as we celebrate 25 years of community giving. It is 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 6:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories, a traffic report, a weather forecast. They're coming up. Ascension St. Thomas Hospital Midtown says at least 4 patients were left harmed during an unspecified event, but the family of one of those patients says their loved one is now paralyzed due to this mistake. The family of 72-year-old Glenda Dorton blames her condition on a medication mix-up during surgery, saying she's now paralyzed from the chest down. They told Channel 4 that Dorton went to the Nashville hospital on Friday for a knee replacement, and she was supposed to receive an epidural to help control her pain during the procedure. Instead, her family says she was given potassium chloride. A family member told Channel 4 here in town that the medication error left Dorton paralyzed from the chest down, and she's still in the ICU. It's not yet known if this can be reversed, according to what the family is saying. Dorton is one of at least 4 patients that Ascension St. Thomas said were impacted by an undisclosed quote-unquote event. Ascension has not released specific information about the other 3 patients and what they may have experienced, citing patient privacy. Potassium chloride can be extremely dangerous when administered incorrectly. It's also been used as part of Tennessee's lethal injection protocol in the past, although the state now uses a different drug for executions. 7 days after a series of storms knocked out power for residents in Griffith, Indiana, tensions are really boiling over as they wait for the lights to come back on. Here's ABC's Trey Ward.
Frustration on both sides of the podium about NIPSCO.
It's frustrating. We're not getting an honest discussion back from them.
Fills the small council chamber in Griffith, Indiana.
We haven't seen anybody assess anything from behind Wood and 39th all the way to Arbogast. There's about 8 trees down still.
Residents and town leaders voicing their concerns during a council meeting, while thousands in northwest Indiana remained without power 1 week after storms left a trail of damage.
NIPSCO is their power company there. Their president released a statement on the work urging patience as they cope with what they say is the worst power outage in the area's history. They're hoping by the end of the week to have the power restored for everybody. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Thank you, Jay. 6:33, Super Talk 99.7. You know, whether we're talking about waterproofing or concrete leveling, foundation repair, my friends at USS, they are the best here in Tennessee. That's right. I've had them out to the house several times. They do great work. United Structural Systems. Now, these types of issues don't get better over time. They actually get worse without the proper fix. Now, everybody knows that. They are here to help you. Now, again, they've helped me over the years with my foundation. I can tell you from personal experience that USS, they treated me right. Communication was outstanding. The work was outstanding. And customer service was top notch. These folks at United Structural Systems, they've been helping Middle Tennesseans for a long time because they do it right and they're going to treat you right. And right now, if you don't have the money to fix whatever is ailing your home, they know how important it is that you get your home fixed quickly. That's why they've come up with some special financing. For a limited time, get a 10% discount when you pay in full. Or you can choose the fix it now, pay it later option with 18 months, no payment, no interest. Finally, you can choose the 36 months, no interest option with low payment options for qualified homeowners. That is, again, for a limited time, USS, United Structural Systems. Call them. Tell them I told you to reach out at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. You see people that look perfectly healthy only to suddenly have serious heart problems. You know, I see it all the time, and it always makes me think of what could be ahead for me. That's why I appreciate what Kraft Body Scan does. Now, they scan your body to make sure that nothing bad is going on, you know, inside. Their state-of-the-art technology can find the smallest irregularities months or even years before you feel symptoms of heart disease or cancer. You know, it is better to know than it is to hope. You know, my dad, many years ago, thought everything was okay, and it wasn't. That happens to a lot of people, thinking, I feel great, so I must be fine, right? Wrong. You know, sadly, my dad passed away at an early age, and it's something that I think about all the time. Now, at Kraft Body Scan, their scans are quick, non-invasive, and you're going to walk out with real answers. It is fast, easy, and it can give you real peace of mind or an early heads up before symptoms ever show up. And right now, Kraft Body Scan is offering our listeners their couples heart and lung scan, valued at over $2,500 for just $99. To take advantage of it, just go to togetherwescan.com or call them 615-436-1000 and use promo code DAN50. That's promo code DAN50. This summer, don't just hope everything's okay. Know that you're okay with Kraft Body Scan. Again, that's togetherwescan.com, 615-436-1000 with promo code DAN50.
In the Donaldson area, still trying to clear this crash. Lebanon Pike and McGavick Pike. The intersection is blocked there due to that crash, and there are injuries. 65 southbound past Trinity Lane. That crash has been moved to the right shoulder. Vietnam Veterans Boulevard westbound to Gallatin Pike. We picked up a crash in Hendersonville. And finally in Lebanon, Sparta Pike at I-40. An injury crash reported. I'm Jay Harper.
.638 Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and appreciate you being here for your Wednesday, August 19th. So apparently Nashville wants to limit drone use in the fight against crime. It's important to note we're not talking about flock cameras. These are drones, and I thought this was interesting. Metro Council now, and we've got audio only for this segment, But Metro Council apparently is trying to limit drone use because it's the same thing as LPRs, license plate readers. But, I think, for me, what they're trying to do is they're trying to protect criminals. This is part of a story. I believe this was from Channel 5.
The bill would restrict routine drone deployments to a small number of situations. Those include active shooter incidents, hostage situations, searching for missing people, and states of emergency. Any future drone pilot program would require a public hearing and council approval.
All right, so let's go through these again. You're talking about active shooter situations. So if there is a drive-by shooting and they're searching for a suspect, law enforcement cannot use a drone? Because remember, she said active shooter. So if a guy, goes in and, I don't know, takes out a bunch of people and then he's fleeing, if I'm reading this right and I'm hearing this right, they're not allowed to use a drone to find a suspect. They say active shooter situations, hostage situations, missing persons, and states of emergency. So they can't use a drone to, track a bad guy who's committed a heinous crime? Really? Really, Metro City Council? What about being able to track drug dealers? What about kidnappings? Does that count as a hostage situation? Maybe that counts as a missing person. I don't know. What about possible terror attacks? And we might be talking about different agencies, but my point is that what they're doing is they're really minimizing how often we can use drones to try to catch criminals. Now, I realize that there's going to be some people listening right now that you put drones and LPRs in the same category as flock cameras. I think you're wrong, but whatever. But for me, I think drones are perfectly acceptable. I do. Because they are situationally specific. They're not mass surveillance like we see on flock cameras. But I just feel like what they're doing is they're tying the hands of police here. In Metro Nashville Police, they've been using these drones to catch criminals, and now they're saying, nope, can't use them except for very specific situations.
Metro Police Chief John Drake has publicly opposed this bill. He says the restrictions will limit the use of technology from helping during emergencies. During this pilot program, officers use drones while responding to kidnapping, tracking suspects, finding missing people, and investigating shootings.
Just being able to respond to situations that are evolving, some dangerous. You can see suspect dynamics. You can see maybe where weapons are being hidden. You can see victim locations. It could also help reduce calls for service.
All right, so I want to do a Daily Dan poll real quick. Sam, want to do a Daily Dan poll. Do you agree with Metro City Council that drones should be limited in use for the Metro Police Department? Should drones be limited in use in fighting crime? Because I think clearly what they're trying to do is tie the hands of police officers and investigations. And they had this pilot program a while ago. You might remember we talked about this, but they had a pilot program. They had 3 drones and 4 operators, and they were able to use them for 45 days. And John Drake will tell you, and the police will tell you, that using those drones, they were able to use them for intel on accidents. They were able to use them to get information on incidents and pass them along to law enforcement who were on their way to a scene. So if you've got some police officers and they're on their way to, I don't know, whatever it might be, a shooting or whatever, they could send a drone up and the drone would essentially relay information back to headquarters, and then headquarters would alert the police officers that were on their way to the scene. So I would say that this would help these officers, for example, avoid an ambush, and they would know what they're getting into. A couple of specific incidents. In May, the drone program helped locate a domestic violence victim who ran away. They got him using the drone. In July, they got a robbery suspect, and by the way, they also found a box cutter that was used in the crime. Under the limitations from Metro City Council, neither one of those situations would have been allowed to have happened because of the new restrictions that they're going to place. They also point out, by the way, advocates for drones are pointing out the video is deleted after 7 days. These drones, there's also an actual ban on facial recognition technology. They are not allowed to be used for mass surveillance. In other words, there's already some limitations and some good limitations and limitations that I agree with on these drones. But for Metro City Council, they only want to use these drones for active shooter situations, hostage situations, missing persons, and states of emergency as well. By the way, hey, Jay, do you know what the average response time of a police officer is in Nashville? And by the way, we are not dissing the police. It is just a matter of logistics.
They're shorthanded.
They're shorthanded for one. Traffic in Nashville.
Right.
Traffic in Nashville is tough as well. 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say 17 to 20 minutes.
You know what the average drone response time is? 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think giving the officers a heads up, as you say, as to what they're getting into, I mean, that's so valuable.
Why wouldn't you do that? The drones responded to the call before police arrived 98% of the time. That drone, again, gives officers information about the situation on the ground, and that does, again, protect them as they arrive on the scene. By the way, it is also important to note in this time where they were trying out the drone program, the trial time, there were no documented episodes of abuse with the drone program at that point in the 30 to 45 days that they used the drones. No episodes, no documented episodes of abuse with the drone program. We can't say that about the flock cameras, obviously. So I think that the drone program, I think it's a great thing. And again, it's not like the flock cameras, which I believe to be mass surveillance. And there's not nearly enough safeguards with the flock cameras and all that kind of stuff. We've gone over that ad nauseum. Oh, by the way, have you seen where these flock cameras are now? Oh my gosh, that is straight ahead. 6:45, time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today, partly cloudy, and we're going to have highs around 90, going to feel like 95 to 96 degrees. Flock cameras are now in national forests. Are you kidding me, really? In national forests? Here's the story. Flock cameras are popping up in national forests, and rangers are furious. According to 404 Media, they reported this yesterday. Flock safety paints itself as nothing more than automated license plate reader cameras that capture plates and other identifying vehicle details, such as color, make, and model, and any other visible features. But what rangers are most concerned about is Flock's tendency to deliver false positives. Remember the other day we talked about Roseville, California? 71% incorrect information, 71% false positives. So if a license plate is read incorrectly or a hot list, as they say, is wrong, an innocent driver can be flagged or stopped. Automated systems can amplify the stakes of inaccurate data. So one park ranger is now saying, I fear for the day when a visitors to a national park, their experience is interrupted by being pulled over and held at gunpoint because the license plate is misread. And that is happening. And so that is clearly a big problem. So now, of course, I don't know if you've seen this, but the CEO of Flock Cameras, he is again on the defensive. 54 cities have now banned these Flock cameras. More clearly are going to come. So the issue, of course, is that there's a lot that is going on with these flock cameras. We don't even know if it's going to pass the Fourth Amendment rule, if you will, of the Constitution. That remains to be seen. That's going to be heard at the Supreme Court. We may get that in about 2028. Now, I don't mind that this kind of technology is being used to fight crime. The problem, though, is that it is picking up our data in mass surveillance style collection. That is a big problem. And it can then be stored, and our entire lives through tracking our movements can be plotted and really predicted. That to me is a clear invasion of privacy. And you folks, maybe you know, maybe you don't, but my journey with these flock cameras, I was like a lot of you folks, where at first you were like, well, of course, we want to do whatever we can to fight crime. But the more that you find out about these flock cameras and how they are predictive in nature, and they can track your every move if you're in your car, and it can predict where you're going to be. And the fact that there's very few, if any, safeguards, and the fact that there's no warrant involved. They don't need a warrant to do any of this. That's a big problem. Now, Chris made the case yesterday that flock cameras violate the Tennessee Constitution, Article 1, Section 7. That says, and this is what the Constitution says, that the people shall be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and possessions from unreasonable searches and seizures. So I want to kind of dissect this a little bit. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. But we're supposed to be secure in our possessions, right? A car is our possession. Flock cameras collect and store data on our cars, where we go, what we do. It collects the data, and then with AI, law enforcement can then predict our lives and our movements without a warrant, without suspicion, without enough safeguards on the data. The data, by the way, is stored for sometimes between 30 and 90 days. 30 days is the standard. It can go up to 90 days as well, depending on what and where we are talking about. So, I mean, if you look at the Constitution, by the way, I'm going to try to get Hans von Spakovsky on to talk about this because he lived in Tennessee for quite some time, so he knows all about the Tennessee Constitution. But speaking of warrants, Article 1, Section 7 continues in that vein. General warrants whereby an officer may be commanded to search suspected places without evidence of the fact committed, or to seize any person or persons not named whose offenses are not particularly described and supported by evidence, are dangerous to liberty and ought not be granted. Now, I'm going to plain English that for you. Basically, and Chris explained this really well yesterday, a general warrant allows police to pretty much, do what they want without really specifying as to who they search or where they search or what evidence they have to justify said search. It's just a general warrant is open-ended, and they are illegal in the state of Tennessee. In Tennessee, they actually have that section to combat these general warrants. You have to be specific in who you are going to search, where you're going to search, and why you're going to search, and the justification for all of these searches. And so there's a lot of folks out there that are saying that these flock cameras are akin to these general warrants that are illegal in Tennessee because they are simply open-ended surveillance, and they can use that information to reconstruct and predict your life. Now, I'm going to let the lawyers and the courts figure all of this out. I'm not an attorney, not going to pretend to be, certainly not going to play one on the radio. But there's a lot of criticism out there. In response to that criticism, by the way, flock cameras say that they're making adjustments. According to Bloomberg, Langley, the guy in charge of these flock cameras, I think the guy's name is Garrett Langley, said that law enforcement customers, in other words, they partner with law enforcement customers will have to use an audit tool to identify abnormal behavior, and that data retention is being cut from 30 days down to 7. Civil liberties groups, however, not convinced these changes are enough or go far enough. The American Civil Liberties Union, this is from Reuters, calls the moves a step in the right direction, but said other changes were merely retreads of previous inadequate safety measures per futurism. So They say the central issue has not changed. Who gets to search people's movements in the first place? So we'll have to wait and see. And as you know, a lot of folks have been saying, you're putting a system in place that clearly is going to allow law enforcement to abuse a system. And once that infrastructure is in place, then really anything goes. I mean, you need to have safeguards on this information. You need to be able to justify utilizing this information. And right now, there is just no justification for having all of this data that will be able to track and then predict our every move. It is 6:54, and Sam is running the board, but Jay has the news coming up at 7. Jay.
Yes, sir, Dan. An illegal immigrant arrested in June for a Nashville hit-and-run incident. We'll give you the latest on that. Also, a battle over separation of church and state in Texas. We'll have these stories at the top of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you'll have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
It is 7 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories, a traffic report, a weather forecast. They're coming up. A man arrested in connection with a hit and run that injured 4 pedestrians in Nashville is now facing federal immigration action. That's according to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE announced Tuesday that it lodged an immigration detainer with the Davidson County Sheriff's Office for Felipe Alvarado Hernandez, 47 years of age. Hernandez faces 21 charges in connection with the crash. That crash happened back on June 13th near Demonbreun Street and Music Circle East in Nashville's Music Row area, and that is right here near our studios. Investigators allege that Hernandez was driving a pickup truck and attempted to turn left when he drove onto the sidewalk and struck 4 pedestrians who were waiting to cross the street. 2 of those people were in wheelchairs. As of July 29th, one of the victims is still hospitalized in the burn unit at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. ICE has identified Hernandez as a 47-year-old Mexican national who the agency says is in the country illegally. The combatants are lining up in the next battle over the separation of church and state. ABC's Jim Ryan says the U.S. Supreme Court has been asked to take a side.
Supporters of classroom displays of the Ten Commandments say it's not about proselytizing non-Christians. Instead, says Alabama State Representative Mark Gidley,
this is about returning a foundational principle to our schools.
While opponents insist
no school district should be posting them.
Attorney Chloe Kemp is with the ACLU, which has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to consider the constitutionality of the Texas law that requires the posting of the Ten Commandments in every public schoolroom in the state.
New details now about Hayden Panettiere's death. According to a police report obtained by ABC News, the actress's on-again, off-again boyfriend, Brian Hickerson, and his brother, Zachary, were also inside the Greenville, South Carolina apartment where she died. Here's more from Faith Abube.
According to police, Panettiere's on and off again boyfriend Brian Hickerson and his brother Zach were also there. Police say they found no indications of foul play or suspicious circumstances, and the preliminary autopsy found no signs of trauma, with her cause of death still pending. Now Panettiere's mother is speaking out in a new interview, saying this person in her life that we've been trying to get rid of for quite some time was with her at her death, and that was Brian Hickerson.
Well, apparently Faith is taking those testosterone treatments. We now have the numbers report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Let's take a look at the stock futures. The Dow's up 55, the S&P up 2.25. The NASDAQ, though, it's down 69. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Continuing to clear this wreck that's blocking the intersection in Donaldson, Lebanon Pike, and McGavick Pike. There's an injury there that probably contributing to the length of clearing that. Also, Sparta Pike at I-40, that an injury crash in Lebanon. Vietnam Veterans Boulevard westbound at Gallatin Pike near Exit 3, a crash reported in Hendersonville. And finally, in the Joelton area, a crash 24 eastbound at Whites Creek Pike. I'm Jay Harper.
.706 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Welcome on in. It is Wednesday. It is August 19th, although I'm going to be honest with you, Brian Wilson, a few minutes ago, I was actually doubting that it was Wednesday. You know, it would be total madness form to, say that it's Wednesday for half the show, then realize it was only Tuesday. Yeah. So, because you had not checked in, but here you are. Thank you for joining us. It is Wednesdays with Wilson and Brian Wilson joining us here. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, Dad. Look, I believe I'm a law-abiding citizen. I believe in obeying the laws of our land, but there is one thing out there on the horizon that could, I think, force me into some level of civil disobedience.
Oh, yeah?
And I just want to get it out there because I think this is a travesty. This is one of these things like, really? Why are you bothering with this? We got so many, fish that we need to go out there and catch. We got the bigger fish to fry, and you're messing with this. They're thinking about doing away with Ride on Red in Davidson County.
Yeah.
I may just drive. I have to decide now whether when I leave bucolic Watertown and all of its beauty, and I decide that I have to decide if it's downtown worthy, because the experience is becoming so horrible.
I love that you say that, downtown worthy.
That's downtown
really good.
worthy? And, okay, I'll go downtown for that. But, it's getting to be more and more difficult, and traffic just gets worse and worse and worse. And it seems very clear that the founding fathers, or the city fathers and the mothers of Davidson County, are bound and determined to try to drive all vehicular traffic out of Nashville. That's what it seems like.
And here's the other thing, the whole Ride on Red, it's ridiculous in the sense that they're responding to that really old man who drove through the intersection without braking and ran over some people and killed a person.
Yeah, and it's tragic, and I don't mean to demean the fact that there is maybe a problem here, but
didn't have anything to do with Ride on Red.
Every major city in the world has Ride on Red. And it does help you. You have to find the balance between public safety and efficiency. In other words, you can make the city absolutely safe. Okay, what do? You set the speed limit at like 7 miles an hour. And I guarantee you nobody will die if everybody obeys a 7 mile an hour speed limit.
Right.
A few people might get bruised, but they're not going to die. We're not going to do that because it's not efficient. You have to find the right balance.
Yeah, and Brian or Jay, did we find out what happened with the old guy? Was he suffering from I think he was suffering from a medical emergency.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything definitive on what. I know that was suspected that was the man's issue.
Yeah.
Never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah,
and that's
other
what
than
they're
being
doing.
87 years of age behind the wheel, I think we ought to look at retesting folks when they get to a certain age.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute now. Hold on.
How old are you, Brian? No, moving right along. Hey, Brian, did you see the surprise in the primaries in Florida?
Yeah, I did. There's a lot going on there. First of all, in the state of Florida, it looks like it's going to be Governor Byron Donalds. It's not sure for sure yet, but it's looking very positive. The Republicans do outnumber Democrats in the state. But I mean, there's troubling stuff there. For example, they have chosen a woman by the name of, what is it, Cynthia Nixon?
Angie Nixon.
Angie Nixon, that's right, Angie Nixon, to be the Senate candidate for the Democrats. She's not going to win that, but I mean, it's just interesting that again, this movement towards socialism is continuing to grow. And, you know, as I look at the big picture for the midterm elections, it is tightening. There's no doubt about it. The real question in the midterm elections is, are we going to get to a point, can the Republicans overcome the natural headwinds that you would have in a midterm election?
Do you know, Brian,
in a midterm election, you know, the party in power generally loses big time, but can we overcome that? Yeah, I think we're close. But very, very quickly, Real Clear Politics has the Senate at 50-50 now. And Tallarico is up a little in Texas over Paxton. So that's a concern. And in the House, Democrats are up. In the polling data, they are poised, if the polling data are correct, to pick up about 7 seats, but that may not be enough given all the redistricting that's been going on.
You know, one of the things that confuses me, and Angie Nixon is one of these DSA candidates, and so I think that the Republicans should capitalize on this as saying, look, this is what the Democrat Party stands for. So I think this is a gift to the Republicans.
Yeah, I think so too.
But the other thing is, you see all of this polling from somebody like Harry Enton over there on CNN, right? Where they'll say, well, the Democrats, their popularity is way down, their approval is way down.
Right.
And
That's
so
true. Yeah.
I don't really understand, maybe you can explain it to me, but how can the Democrats, on the one hand, be so incredibly unpopular? The policies of the DSA candidates, which is what the Democrat Party stands for, so horribly unpopular. Yet you still have some places saying that they're going to get seven seats in the House of Representatives. I guess I'm not understanding how they can be so unpopular, yet still there's this threat that they're going to take over the House.
And that's why I say, I mean, the real question is, can Republicans overcome the normal headwinds you would have? And one of the things that Democrats are doing, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot in a big way here, and that is these DSA candidates are so outside mainstream political thought that I think that there are a tremendous number of Democrats who are looking at it and going, I'm sorry, no, I can't do that. And they have, as is often the case, the extreme liberal wing of the Democrat Party may have gone a step too far. They may have pushed too far, and they may find themselves having grabbed defeat out of the jaws of victory in this midterm election.
Well, you know, the thing is, they keep saying, oh, well, we have a big tent, right? It's a big tent. And so
big tent, right.
Well, that's BS, because if I have a big tent, put that in air quotes, okay, but you are dealing with, yesterday, Brian, I had a piece of audio, hopefully people heard it, where one of the leaders of the DSA actually said they hate the Constitution and the Constitution is blocking their pathway to revolution, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
comrade.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the Democrats, if you're Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer or some of these Democrats, you say, I'm sorry, but even our big tent does not have room for a party or a part of our party that says that we have to abolish prisons, open borders, all of these things that the DSA stands for, and a hatred of the Constitution. You would think that they would say, our big tent is closed to that. And they won't do it.
Yeah, they won't do it, and they're afraid because they look at the trends, and young people are not at all against the idea of socialism, and many of them are not against the idea of communism. I mean, I always ask, can you point to me one place in the world where it's really worked? And I don't think you can, and I don't think they can. But it is just astonishing to me that we're having this major debate over whether or not the free enterprise system is a good thing, and that capitalism works, and that our system of government, while it's imperfect, it's pretty good compared to all the others. And I have a feeling that the Democrats may have gone just a step too far here, and they're gonna really regret the day that they tried to push this whole Democrat socialism. They could have called themselves anything and then just done it when they got into office. But they're going in and at least telling you what they are. They're socialists.
Yeah.
And so, be advised, this is not a good way, but it's concerning when you look at how many people in America find the idea of socialism attractive.
Okay, 7:15. We've got, did I read this right? We have some Fang in the news?
Well, there's just a little bit of news about that whole thing. Yeah, the Fang, bang, bang, right.
Okay, we're coming up next. It's 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as weather goes, it's going to be hot today, high around 90 degrees. Going to feel like mid-90s up towards 100 degrees. All right, so Fang, bang, bang. Brian, it sounds like something I'd get at Rock and Roll Sushi, but apparently Fang is in the news.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
I like that.
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
As a sushi fan.
Yes.
Well, I think we've known for some time now that Swalwell had a romantic relationship with a Chinese intelligence operative by the name of Fang. And what was interesting is he said, well, when the FBI came to me and told me she was a spy, then I did everything I could to help. But what was interesting is that we now have a story in justthenews.com that Pelosi and the Democrats made an active decision to keep Swalwell on the Intel Committee over in the House of Representatives, despite the fact that he was entangled with Fang in some kind of romantic relationship, and she was an intelligence operative.
That's insanity.
It is.
Can I ask you this question? Like, when I don't know exactly when he had his bang with Fang, but my question is this. At that time, we still knew at that point in time that China had spies in our country, right?
Yeah, right.
You would have thought
they've always got spies here, don't?
Yeah.
I don't want to go back and tell old stories that I've told 100 times, but I will tell you that my experience in Washington over the 31 years that on occasion you came in contact with these Chinese intelligence operatives. Now, everybody who works at the embassy, the Chinese embassy in Washington, I don't care what their job responsibility is on their little badge, they're spies. Every single one. And they are incredibly active. They put a lot of effort into that. Right. And so it's not completely shocking that this would happen. Well, what is shocking to me is here you got a guy that's on the Intel Committee. He has access to the deepest, darkest secrets of our nation, and he's out there having a sexual relationship with a spy, and they go to Pelosi and they don't want to do anything about it.
All right, real quick, 7:19. Brian Wilson joining us. Have you noticed a couple of things that I find interesting? Have you noticed that you've got John Ossoff and CNN, and it seems to me like what they're trying to do is paint this scenario and sell this to the American people that Donald Trump is having an inappropriate relationship with this Natalie Harp. Natalie Harp, for people that don't know, she is that attractive blonde that is always traveling with the president, and apparently part of what she does is she carries a lot of these printouts with her so that the president can read them as he travels. And CNN, and they did this, it was like a 5-panel discussion. It seems to me like what they're trying to sell is that 80-year-old Donald Trump, apparently they're trying to sell that he's having an inappropriate relationship with this Natalie Harp.
Yeah, I don't like the tone and tenor of this reporting. And if you got something, then put it out there.
Yep.
And if you don't have something, then shut up. But this sort of vague suggestion and hints that there's something inappropriate about the thing. Look, every president has had, in many cases, it's called a butt boy. That's the unofficial term for it in Washington. Someone who is right on their heel all the time, handing them information, handling their phone, making sure that the tweets go out, making sure that they're on track. Just somebody who is there to take care of whatever need they have. And in this particular case, it turns out it's a woman. And I don't know that anybody has pointed to anything that is problematic with the relationship. I will say I did notice, and this is interesting. I haven't seen much of Melania lately, and I don't know what that's all about.
And she's always had a complicated relationship with the media.
She hates the media, and she I don't think she likes Washington very much, and that's not been a big surprise. So I'm not real worried about it, but it is one of the other things. What you see are these two companion stories. Where's Melania? And who is this woman that is always with the president? It's very ugly and very whispery and very suggestive. You got it? Put it out there. You don't have it? Shut up.
All right, very good. Real quick, Scott Jennings, I don't know if you saw the Daily Mail piece this morning. Scott Jennings is rumored to be the choice for White House press secretary.
Wow.
President Trump has said that he wants a woman, but according to the reporting, but apparently Susie Wiles, Donald Trump's chief of staff, and many others want Scott Jennings, and apparently Jennings wants the job. Now,
he has really distinguished himself over there at CNN as being a voice of reason, against the gale of crazy that CNN puts out on a daily basis. And I'm very impressed with him. And I got to say, he really wasn't on my radar screen very much beforehand, but he's really been very effective in that role.
Do you think that is a waste of his, and I'm not taking anything away from a White House press secretary, but I feel like that's almost a waste of his talents, because being the White House press secretary, I think that he has more influence right at that perch there on CNN, battling with all of these other folks. Not because, there are millions of people watching the Abby Phillips show, but because the clips go viral like every single day. He's going to have to give up that gig. He's got a radio show with Salem he's going to have to give up as well. But maybe what he's doing is he is, sort of, I would say, taking a bit of a step back, even though it's hard to say that as a White House press secretary. But when he gets out of that role, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Tony Snow one time, the late Tony Snow, when he was going over to the White House he was leaving Fox News Sunday, and leaving Fox, and then going over to be the White House press spokesman. I said, how can you afford to do it? Sorry, excuse me. And what he said was, well, what you do is you make an investment. You take out a big loan.
Yep.
And, because he was making great money over there doing Fox News Sunday. And, the money that you make as press secretary, it's not ugly money, but it's not what he was making and what he was used to. And I said, how do you, well, you take out a big loan and that it gets you through, and you do it for, a couple of years, and then your value has gone up and you can make it on the back end.
Skyrocketed.
Because you become a very valuable commodity. I think it was very sad when he passed away, and he didn't get to really foresee it. And sadly, I think that when you have a situation like this with these press secretaries, they have to balance how much am I making, and can I afford to take the hit for a while, on the hope that I'll do better when I come out of the whole thing.
Well, and the other thing too,
I don't know that he'll do it.
The other thing about Scott Jennings, he's got a wife and kids who live in Kentucky.
Right.
And so that's a long way from Washington, D.C.
He's immensely good at what he's doing, and he's making probably pretty decent change right now. It would be very difficult to give that up to go over and be the press secretary, which is a great job. You're right in the middle of everything, but you just don't make a lot of money, and a lot of people find themselves unable to take the hit.
Okay, hummingbirds in the news?
Well, no, except that I just want to say I got up this morning and walked through the house and over to the studio, and it was such a beautiful morning. And we have been blessed this year with an abundance of hummingbirds. I mean, we got more hummingbirds than I have ever seen, and it is just a beautiful time of year. The Cabana wife and I were sitting back on the back porch, and we have about 8 feeders up, and I mean, the hummingbirds, I don't know, right now are just crazy active. It's a lot of fun to watch.
We've got a hummingbird feeder, actually, and I was out watering yesterday, and I saw, you ever have this happen to you where you see just out of the corner of your eyes something coming right at you?
Yeah.
And a hummingbird was like 6 inches from my face and just
and you hear
flew right on by.
They have sort of a buzz sound.
It's exactly
very
right.
cool. But they're just fascinating to watch and very aggressive. Actually, a lot more aggressive with each other than I remembered. But it's just a tremendously lovely time of year. Lovely mornings, lovely evenings, and hummingbirds. I love the hummingbirds.
Very good, Brian. Well, thank you. It reminds me, of course, of what I'm missing because I'm asleep in the evenings and I miss my mornings because I'm in this studio.
Yeah, sorry
However,
about that.
I'm not complaining. I love my job. And Brian, as always, thank you for joining us here.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll talk to you next time. Brian Wilson on Super Talk 99.7. Coming up, by the way, after the news at 7:35, looking forward to speaking to State Representative Jason Zachary. And his fight against property taxes. Is it Jason Zachary to the rescue? We'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead on Super Talk 99.7. And Jay Harper has the news at 7:30. Jay.
Yes, Dan, we'll get into more of the primary results from yesterday's elections. And, specifically, we'll get into Alaska and Florida. And also, if you're getting Amazon packages, you may see a drone delivering them soon. We'll have that at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Med is here. I've been a client of Dr. Kevin Mitchell for about 12 years now. He's awesome, and so is the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and so is my bad back. Thanks to Dr. Kevin Mitchell. Now, for a lot of years, I did have a bad back. I came to Middle Tennessee, went to Dr. Kevin Mitchell, and they helped me right out. I got to tell you, spinal decompression therapy, it is great. Now, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they've been changing lives for 40 years with innovation and technology. Now, this year does mark his big 20th year with Pioneer Days in Technology Ways. To celebrate in style, Dr. Mitchell is offering you the Big 20. It's going to give you 50% off non-surgical spinal decompression. Discover why patients across Tennessee trust Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley for answers and relief. So, friends, if you suffer from sciatica, neuropathy, spinal stenosis, bulging discs, neck pain, back pain, tingling and weakness in your arms and legs, they can help you with no surgery, no injections, and no painkillers. Call them 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. PainIsBad.com is the website. Dr. Mitch and Dr. Ashley at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they have my seal of approval. $7:29, Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mand is here. And for a lot of you parents, of course, school is back, and that means you have time to work on you again. You're going to be able to take walks and maybe, get in a few workouts during the week. Why not a trip to Contours in Cool Springs? I go there all the time. I love it. Now, at Contours, they can help you get rid of those love handles that have been bugging you for years. They can also help with some of the wrinkles on your face. They are experts in red light technology. It's what they specialize in. It is all the rage these days, and they have the latest and greatest equipment to help you lose that unwanted fat and those love handles. And that means no pain, no downtime, and it absolutely does work. I've gone through it. Matt Murphy has gone through it as well. So go check out Contours today. A special price right now for listeners to my show, $99 is all you're going to spend to get you a Belly Buster special. First 10 callers right now get that $99 special for that Belly Buster special. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. First 10 callers right now get that special deal of just $99 for a Belly Buster special. By the way, you lose 2 inches across the middle or it is free. 615-236-9960. ContoursLLC.com.
"33 minutes past 7 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories, a traffic report, a weather forecast coming up. Alaska primary voters cast ballots last night in a race that could decide the balance of the U.S. Senate. Republican incumbent Senator Dan Sullivan advanced to the general election along with Democrat Mary Peltola and another candidate with the same name, Dan Sullivan. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Sullivan rallying supporters overnight.
We're on to the general election.
And Peltola, a former Democratic congresswoman, promising to be an independent voice in the Senate. But Alaska allows for 4 candidates, regardless of party, to advance to the general election ballot. And this morning, it's unclear if that will include Dan J. Sullivan, a candidate with virtually the same name as the senator. In a plea to Republicans, President Trump posting, "Alaska, be careful. Vote for the real Dan Sullivan."
A stunning upset last night in Florida's Democratic Senate primary. State lawmaker Angie Dixon won the Democratic Senate primary over former National Security Council aide Alex Vindman, a key figure in President Trump's first impeachment. Once again, here's Jay O'Brien.
Vindman was backed by establishment party leaders, and his campaign raised $16 million. None of it was enough to beat Nixon, who joined the DSA in the middle of her campaign.
The hard-working, everyday people of Florida send a shockwave to the Washington, D.C. establishment.
But far-left challengers coming up short elsewhere on the ballot, unable to unseat Florida Congressman Jared Moskowitz.
That is the latest news, traffic, and weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Thank you, Jay. 7:35, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. Of course, you know, the summer heat can wear anybody out, but if you've been feeling drained, even with the air conditioning on, it may not just be the heat. You know, 1 in 4 men from the age of 35 to 60 have low testosterone and low levels of energy and motivation, mood, and a whole lot more. Now, low T drains your energy and your motivation, so you don't have energy for the things that you love. You might even stop recognizing yourself. So get the answers you need for free at Low T Center. Now, you can book a free testosterone test and get a consultation from licensed providers who specialize in testosterone replacement therapy. You can explore a range of peptides and even get a jump on that body, that summer body, with GLP-1s and medical weight loss protocols. Low T Center has been the #1 name in TRT since 2009 for a reason. Don't spend another day wondering why you don't feel like yourself. Visit fixmylowt.com to schedule your free testosterone test today. That's fixmylowt.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You saw the story that we all spoke about yesterday, and really it's been a topic of conversation for a lot of years. But yesterday, the Beacon Center, they come out with this piece saying that Tennessee had the worst property tax hikes in the U.S. In the last 6 years. Now, Tennessee was the only state in America that saw an increase over 75%. It's not just Nashville, friends. It is Wilson County as well, where I live, cities like Mount Juliet, where I live, where the tax rate has gone up by 164%. So, this is, we talk a lot about, the bar owners. I've done many interviews with some of those folks, but, this is business owners, but this is also homeowners. This is everyone. And most folks in Tennessee are impacted one way or another, because if you're not a homeowner and you're not a business owner, okay. Well, if you go to restaurants and if you go to businesses in Nashville and across Tennessee, prices may have gone up because of the hike in property taxes. So I do believe that this does impact everybody. Now, Jason Zachary is a state lawmaker out of Knox County. And Jason, number one, good morning. Number two, you had a bill last year that would have limited how much local governments could increase property taxes. It didn't pass the Senate committee. Now, we're going to talk about the procedural stuff here in a minute, but what would your bill have done had it passed?
Yep. Good morning, Dan, and thanks for talking about this and having me on. So, if this bill had passed, and it did pass out of one of the House subcommittees, if it had passed, it would have capped property tax at 3% a year. You could only do a 3% increase per year over a 4-year period. So it allowed you to bank those 3% for 4 years. You get to 12% at the end of the year, but we also accounted for inflation because, for example, under the Biden administration, 1 year it was 9%. And so we accounted for inflation. So if you take what the Fed would like to get us to, 2% inflation, you could do 3% a year plus inflation, and we just, for math's sake, made it 2%. So effectively, that would be a 20% increase over a 4-year period. But the key with this is you can bank those. So it doesn't require a local government to say, well, we're just going to have to raise taxes 3% a year because we're not managing our resources well. You could bank those, and at the end of 4 years, if you needed some kind of increase, you would have roughly 20% available to you. And we did it on a 4-year cycle, so that way the mayor, city council, county commission, they can be held accountable. If they are not managing resources effectively, you get to the end of that 4 years, they decide to pop a community with a 20% increase over 4 years, then the voters can hold them accountable. And that's a big part of what our problem is, especially for you guys in Davidson County, is the people of Davidson County not holding electeds accountable for mismanagement of resources.
One of the things, as I know how these things work, because oftentimes you use other states perhaps as a prototype. Was there another state that you kind of looked at where it's like, yeah, that's how we want to do it?
Well, it was a combination of many states, because and I don't know if you've mentioned this because I wasn't listening before, but we're one of only 4 states that does not have any kind of property tax cap. So you've got 46 other states that are doing using a variety of methods to do this. So it really was just looking at all the states, working with the Beacon Center, who has just been phenomenal in leading on this effort, Justin and his team, working with them. And this is really kind of what we looked at with all the states, the 46. Excuse me, and this seemed to be the best method and approach for us because, again, it provided flexibility and allows an increase if needed, but the key for us was adding in inflation because, again, God forbid we ever get back to 9% a year inflation. But if there ever was a period, just like our households are affected, I mean, government is affected when inflation increases 9%. It provided some of that flexibility. But I think it's important to remember, Dan, that in Knox County, we're the 5th fastest growing county in the state. We're the 3rd largest. We hadn't had a property tax increase in over 20 years. We had who is now Congressman Burchett and Mayor Jacobs leading the way, and they have been able to manage based on the increase in resources, and we haven't skipped a beat in Knox County. So ultimately, it goes back to when you elect people, you get what you get. And so if you've got a community like Davidson County where you have had a 60% property tax increase in 5 years, and you continue to elect those same people, ultimately, it's going to be on you as a constituent to make better choices about who leads your community.
You mentioned Justin Owen with the Beacon Center. Justin will be on with Matt Murphy later on today at 4:05 here on Super Talk 99.7. And State Representative Jason Zachary is joining us. So why is it how long has it been that you've been in the state legislature? Has it been like 10 years, something like that?
Yep, very good. I'm my 11th year. I'm in my 6th term. Yep.
Okay, so why is it that Tennessee is only one of 4 states that don't have some sort of a property tax cap? Why is that? Is there some sort of an aversion to it? And then we're going to talk about what happened last year procedurally. Why didn't get it through the Senate? And so, but talk about why is it in your 10 years, what's your experience in why there is not a property tax cap?
Well, man, I think, Dan, part of the challenge is how well we are run as a state. We are still the 3rd lowest taxed people per capita in the country behind Alaska and Vermont. So Alaska they give everybody a check for royalties. Vermont's New Hampshire, is super small. And then we got 7 million people. So I mean, Tennessee, the people move here because of our low tax environment. And people see property taxes as a local issue. And man, honestly, again, here in Knox County in East Tennessee, we haven't had communities that have been popped like you guys in Mount Juliet or the increases you've seen in Davidson County. I mean, I've got the list right here in front of me, and it's Belmead, it's Mount Juliet, it's communities in Middle Tennessee that have been hit with over 100% increases in the last few years, and you've got Davidson County. Davidson County is 2 of the top 3 increases in the last couple of years. And so I think part of it has been an isolated issue with Davidson, or Middle Tennessee is what most people have seen. And the reality is many of those areas are represented by Democrats, and they're never going to bring a bill to cap any kind of tax. And in the committee that I presented this bill that passed, the 2 Democrats that opposed the bill both represent Davidson County. And so I think it's just now at the point where when we hit COVID and things began to really escalate in Davidson County, and then we saw, like what you said, Mount Juliet that had the 164% increase, Belmead and other communities, then it started to filter out beyond Middle Tennessee. I think it got the attention of legislators. And again, I can't speak for the Senate. Senate business is their business, but the House, we knew we had to act. Beacon Center came to me and said, hey, partner with us. This is something we got to do now. And I said, of course. And man, the reason it was so important to me, talking about elections having consequences, Mayor Jacobs has termed out. He's leaving. We had 3 Republicans running for the nomination, for the Republican nomination to be our next mayor. Only one of those, Betsy Henderson, who did win by double digits in a 3-person race, she pledged no tax increases. The other 2 did not do that. And so, man, it was extremely important to me because I know a couple of those, the 2 candidates, they were going to really increase our property taxes. And so it became really important to me to protect my community, which obviously then had an impact across the state. But again, we passed it out of the House subcommittee, and the Senate was a different business.
Let me real quick. I got to check traffic, but coming back, one of the things that I'm going to ask you about is, there's our homes are reappraised and the value goes up, and so then they say, well, there's not supposed to be any kind of a windfall for the cities or the state from property taxes when there's a reassessment and everybody's values goes up. I'm going to ask you about that coming back. Jason Zachary joining us on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads.
We have an injury crash in Hermitage, Dodson Chapel Road at Old Hickory Boulevard. Also in Laverne, a crash, Murfreesboro Pike westbound before Waldron Road. And also Nolensville Pike north of Alice Avenue, a crash reported. I'm Jay Harper.
As far as your weather goes, it's going to be hot today, of course, with highs up around 90, and it's going to feel like about 95, 96, 97 degrees. Partly cloudy as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. State Representative Jason Zachary is joining us. So, yeah, that question of, you always hear the mayor and some other lawmakers saying, well, wait a minute, the property tax rates, they are lowered as people's values go up. There's not supposed to be any kind of a windfall from raising of the property values and so forth. And I mean, how does that play into all this?
Sure. Yeah. So that's always a big part of this conversation is the reassessment of properties. And I live here in West Knoxville, and we have had the same experience that Mount Juliet and many of your communities have had in Davidson, because so many people are moving here and our property values have blown up. I mean, my house has doubled since I bought it 10 years ago, easily. And there's supposed to be an offset. Action has to be taken by the local governing body based on reassessment and then balancing out the tax rate. And so you're supposed to see, and I'm going to butcher this, and so please forgive me, all the locals out there who are so passionate about local government. There's a neutrality point that you're supposed to reach, that local government has to take action based on that reassessment. But our properties our property values are increasing so much that even if there's some sort of action taken to try to neutralize that, it's still a significant increase to the people throughout Tennessee. And again, Tennessee is such a thriving state. From Memphis to Mountain City, everybody has seen that the amount you pay on your property tax increase without fully understanding or realizing the benefit of some sort of net neutrality step that local government has to take.
All right. So one of the questions is, you always hear the local politicians on, I know that I've heard this in Mount Juliet, is like, oh, if we don't raise these property taxes, then the firemen won't get paid and, your trash won't get picked up, all of these things. And so, you sort of shrug your shoulders. You can't fight City Hall, but you can. But, I mean, what's the answer then? If the firemen and the policemen and the ambulances, and nobody's going to get paid if they don't raise the property taxes, well, then as a resident of the state of Tennessee, I mean, what are you supposed to think? Who do you listen to? What's the real story?
Sure. Yeah. And that's a good question. And the quote unquote books and budget of every local municipality is different. So I can't speak to the Mount Juliet's management of resources or any other community. I know not counties, but it's priorities. I mean, if you have Mayor Jacobs on, he'll literally walk you through how he has had to prioritize because he refuses to increase taxes. And man, just like we do, I don't want to simplify it to the point of our personal budgets, but that's basically what it comes down to. I mean, here in the state, when Republicans took over in 2010, most people forget that Democrats who had controlled the state were balancing the budget with one-time dollars, and it emptied many of our rainy day funds. And it left us in a challenging position that Governor Haslam had to come in and begin to slash and cut and make things really uncomfortable for a period of time to get us to the point we are today. Same thing with our household incomes. If I'm making $100,000 a year, I can't spend 120. I literally have to make decisions about where I'm going to cut and where I'm going to prioritize. And it's the same thing with any local government. I got it. Communities are exploding. There are real challenges on budgets, like in Mount Juliet. I mean, Mount Juliet's exploded. But I also know, too, to fearmonger and tell people police and firemen aren't going to get paid is foolish. There are always ways to reprioritize resources, and sometimes you got to make sacrifices, but you don't make sacrifices with absolute essentials that require people to be safe, that keep people safe. It ultimately just comes down to the people in that community holding elected officials accountable. That's where I just don't get it with Davidson. Again, you've got a Democrat-controlled council, Democrat mayor. You've seen a 60% increase in your property taxes over the last 6 years, and you're going to continue to elect those people to represent you and manage the resources that are coming into Davidson County and Nashville. That area is thriving, and the economy is booming. There's no reason they should be increasing property taxes on the people in that community.
Let me ask you, so on X, you said that you're going to bring this back again this year, the next legislative session for the property tax cap bill. Last time around, it did not get through this committee or subcommittee in the Senate. Do we know why it didn't pass through this committee or subcommittee in the Senate? And do we have an expectation that it might have more of a chance this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. That would be a question for the members of the state and local committee on the Senate side. Bo Watson carried the bill and had told me that it didn't look good based on his conversations with the members on that committee. Many times on the state and local committee, and it's like this on both the House and Senate, you have former members of city council and county commission on those particular committees, and they don't do anything to disrupt the unrestricted taxability of local government. And so I think it's extremely important for your listeners, your listeners that care so much about this, especially in Middle Tennessee, to reach out to their state senator, especially during an election year, and set the expectation. I expect you to vote for a property tax cap when it comes back, because you're exactly right. I'm bringing it, Justin, and I talked about it yesterday. I'm bringing a bill The same bill with a much longer runway that I've had to work on this. The House is not going to be a problem. Speaker Sexton supported. He was a sponsor. He was a co-sponsor on my bill last year. Again, we passed it out of the House sub. I knew I had the votes in full, and once it got to the full, the Republicans were going to support it and get that bill passed the Senate to the governor. But the Senate is our challenge. So listeners need to reach out to their state senator and ask them to support the property tax cap bill when it comes up in January of 27.
So I'm going to ask a really uncomfortable question, but was this a kind of instance where they put it in this particular committee or subcommittee, whatever it was, to park it so that it would die in committee?
Good question, and no, that's not how it works. The clerks make the decision, and we argue with the clerks all the time. The clerks make the decision based on the caption of the bill and what titles it opens, where that bill goes. And so anything related to state and local is always going to go to that committee, and then if it's got a fiscal note to it, it's going to go to finance. So no, I can say with integrity that the clerks make those decisions. We really don't have anything to do with it in terms of members, and it goes where they feel that it fits based on the caption and the sections of code it opens.
Jason, will you let us know how this whole thing is going? I really want this to be something that, you know, we cover on the radio station and certainly on my show, because I think that this is important, and I think that we do need to, you know, ratchet up the pressure on folks to make sure that this at least gets the attention that it deserves.
Absolutely, man. And please, Dan, as you do such a good job of, you and Matt, make sure that your listeners, because again, it's election season, make sure that they're holding their electeds accountable. I mean, I'm sure you have some Democrats listen to you. Make sure they're reaching out to their state reps and their state senators saying, I expect you to support this. Again, the Beacon Center poll, 90% of Tennesseans support a property tax cap. I mean, rarely do we have a bipartisan issue that 90% of Tennesseans support, man. This is that issue right here, and it impacts everybody from Memphis to Mountain City.
All right, Jason, Zachary, thank you very much for joining us here on Super Talk 99.7, and we'll have you back on again soon. Have a great rest of the week. It is 7:56. Boy, am I running late, but it is worth it. Jay's got the news coming up at 8 o'clock. Jay.
Yes, sir, Dan. So where does the proposal to limit right turn on red in Nashville stand? We'll also have a disturbing story about a woman who turned up missing in Vegas on her vacation. We'll have those stories at the top of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay. Dan Mandis here, and I've been a client of Dr. Kevin Mitchell for about 12 years now, and I've spoken about my journey. When I arrived in Middle Tennessee over 12 years ago now, I did have a lot of back pain. I had a lot of neck pain as well. I heard about the Wellness Institute of Nashville from a commercial just like this one. I went in, they fixed me right up, they changed my life, and they've been changing lives for 20 years with innovation and technology, the Wellness Institute of Nashville and Dr. Kevin Mitchell. Now, this year does mark his big 20th year with Pioneer Days in Technology Ways. Now, to celebrate in style, Dr. Mitchell is offering you the Big 20. Going to give you 50% off non-surgical spinal decompression. Discover why patients across Tennessee trust Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley for answers and relief. So, friends, if you've been suffering from sciatica, neuropathy, spinal stenosis, bulging discs, neck pain, back pain, or tingling and weakness in the arms and legs, well, check out Dr. Mitchell. Find them online, painisbad.com, 615-246-5009. No surgery, injections, or painkillers, 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com. As always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Dr. Mitch and Dr. Ashley at the Wellness Institute of Nashville have my seal of approval.
It is 8 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A full forecast and a traffic report in mere minutes. A proposal to restrict right turns on red in Nashville is being scaled back a bit ahead of its next Metro Council vote. Metro Council member Sandra Sepulveda said Tuesday a substitute version would focus on Connect Downtown, Nashville Next Tier 1 areas, and school zones. The original proposal would have applied throughout Nashville's urban services district. The change comes as Nashville continues to struggle with pedestrian safety. Sepulveda said that about 20 pedestrians and cyclists have been killed on Nashville streets so far this year. The original proposal faced stiff concerns about traffic and enforcement. Supporters argue the narrower approach could improve safety while limiting the impact on drivers. Meanwhile, out west, the family of a woman who went missing in Las Vegas more than a week ago says they're now getting disturbing messages from her phone.
63-year-old Alyssa Goods was in Vegas visiting a friend who says she left to go to a nearby drugstore on August 8th and never came back. Goods' niece kept calling her on cell phone. Days later, someone answered, hung up, and started texting, claiming to be Goods and asking for Bitcoin. The family says they've gotten nowhere with Las Vegas police.
Reaching out to the detective only for her to tell me my aunt wasn't a priority.
Las Vegas police telling our New York station that the case is an active missing persons investigation.
That's Faith Abube reporting. Now let's turn to the market numbers report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. They're online at beaconcm.com. Here's Jim Ryan.
The Standard & Poor's posted its third consecutive daily loss Tuesday, giving up about 0.7%. Losses were heavier for the tech-intensive NASDAQ, while the Dow Jones surrendered 116 points to close at 53,343. Shares in Spain's Diolio soared 17% this morning amid an intensifying takeover battle for the world's largest olive oil company. Another Spanish company has offered $545 million for Diolio. It was down to the wire, but President Trump has delayed hefty new tariffs on more than $20 billion in Canadian imports. After talks with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, Trump posted that the two countries have a tentative trade deal in place. Buy now, pay later for groceries. The New York Times reports that Americans increasingly are using short-term financing to pay for essentials like gas and rent. $160 billion in pay-later loans were taken out last year, twice as many as 2023.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather. They're next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. An injury crash in Hermitage, Dodson Chapel Road at Old Hickory Boulevard. We now have an overturned vehicle on I-440. This is eastbound just before exit 7. The left lane totally blocked. Nolensville Pike north of Alice Avenue, a crash. Also Hickory Hollow Parkway at Bell Road, a wreck, and another Old Hickory Boulevard at Bellevue Road in Bellevue. I'm Jay Harper.
.806 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends, and hope you are doing well. Can I just say that CNN, they are, Jay, hyperventilating over this Natalie Harp thing. So now, and we've been talking about this off and on all morning long, so now the story is, and I'll catch you up here in a second if you have not been listening, but Natalie Harp is this, pretty blonde, and she's always at Donald Trump's side. So you have this guy, John Ossoff, who is a Democrat senator out of Georgia. And he seems to be intimating, making some allegations that President Trump is having an inappropriate relationship with this Natalie Harp. She goes with the president all the time. Part of her duties is to keep this big stack of papers so that the president can read when he is on the road, right? So now they've got this story where they're saying that, and this just broke here a little bit ago, where they say that Natalie Harp, I've got to stop here. Are you on CNN?
No, I've got it on Fox.
Go to CNN. Let me describe this. CNN has Natalie Harp's brother on, and he's got this hat on. He's got long hair, and he's got this hat on. You missed it, unfortunately, but I'm going to describe it for you. Dude's clearly like a stoner because he's got long hair, and his hat said something about marijuana use, and it said the word bud on it. It was so quick. But the brother is now saying that Natalie Harp idolizes Donald Trump, and, getting the job with Donald Trump was a dream come true. So CNN and John Ossoff, they are really going full bore on this allegation that there's some sort of an inappropriate relationship. Now CNN is reporting, Jay Harper, that there was at one point where Natalie Harp supposedly hid in an SUV trunk so that she could go with the president to some sort of an event.
Yes, I see that on their website, on the CNN website.
So I don't understand, if the president of the United States wants Natalie Harp to go to some sort of an event, why would she have to hide in an SUV trunk?
Yeah, it says this happened in October of 23 when he was due at a courthouse to fight, when he was dealing with all that stuff in the New York court. The motorcade idled outside the Trump Tower residence, and they said there wasn't room for Harp, so they stuck her in the trunk of the vehicle, that there were no seats available.
That's a lot different than her hiding in the trunk so that she could be snuck in, if you will.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough room in the SUV, and so she hopped in the trunk.
Correct.
Which sounds a little weird, but whatever.
Yeah, so CNN continued to milk it for a little bit after you said that they dropped it, but they now have a senator from Illinois on the program, and it was the first question that the host pivoted to him, and he goes, well, really, I'm here to talk about the issues that people in my district sit down at the table and talk about, affordability, and he just completely shrugged it off.
Is it a Democrat?
Brad Schneider, Illinois, yeah.
Well done, Brad Schneider.
Well, it's bogus, and Ossoff, he sucks, however you pronounce his name, is only using it to get platformed. Well, people are going to vote for him simply because he's calling out Trump.
Yeah, but there's no basis to the allegation. When we talked to Brian Wilson about this, he's like, if you've got something, just report it. But all of this all of these sort of vague allegations that they're making, there's no credibility to them whatsoever. And people, when we talked about this before, it's sort of like, okay, so Donald Trump has Melania, and I'm not to, talk about it in these kinds of terms, but, a lot of people saying that, no, stop it. Just take that off. It's not what I was saying. But, Melania, Natalie Harp is a downgrade from Melania. I'm just going to put it that way. But, I mean, whatever. I'm not even giving any credence to these allegations. I think it's all BS. And if they've got something to... Okay, I'm going to put it this way, Jay Harper. If CNN had anything concrete, then they would be reporting it.
Well, just because, every president has aides that are very close to them, right at their hip.
Yeah.
The fact that this happens to be a woman and a fairly attractive woman, therein lies all of the insidious inferences. I mean, if it were a guy, it's just totally absurd.
But you said what did you say? They're insidious? What did you just say?
Yeah, I think that's what I said.
All right. Anyway, but you're right.
Inferences?
Insidious inferences.
Correct.
Whatever.
Yeah,
anyway. Yeah. They got...
Just because he's got a woman with him all the time, I mean, why can't a woman be a close personal aide to any elected representative without being, without the suggestion that there's something going on?
Well, and here's the other thing. Aren't we supposed to, give women opportunities?
I was going to say, this is, I think this is the most female administration in history, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he's got
a lot of
chief
women.
Of staff. His press secretaries, for the most part, have all been women.
The first female chief of staff ever.
Yeah.
Right? Go fact check that, because I think you're probably... Turn your mic off, though. But fact check that, because I want to know if that is true. If it is... I know he's got a lot of females in there, Jay. I don't know if he is the most female-centric staff of any president ever, but... I don't know. As I said, if you've got something, just report it and be done with it. But all of this sort of, vague inferences is just damaging their own credibility. And by the way, you know what I would say? CNN, don't you have legit anti-Trump news to report? I mean, the war in Iran is still going on. We still don't have as much mass deportation as we wanted, right? There's plenty of things that Republicans are irritated with regarding Donald Trump. This, at least to me, makes CNN look really bad. So,
well, the sensationalism, that's...
Yeah.
That draws people's attention, unfortunately.
Okay, well, it doesn't help that a lot of people have quit or moved on to different roles.
Well, that happens with every.
That happens with every. And I'd be willing to bet that happens a lot with the Trump administration, because I bet you burnout is a big factor.
Well, but they're saying that Biden's administration set the modern high watermark with women holding roughly 48 to 52% of the cabinet. Now that's not something to brag about, though, considering how crap that administration was,
right,
from top to bottom, and how many of those women were actual women. That's what I want to know.
I was going to say, wasn't Biden's assistant HHS or whatever? Who's that guy? Who is it? Well, he dressed up as
Admiral Rachel, whatever the
Levine.
Heck.
Yeah. I mean, what was his role? Was it HHS?
Yeah.
Secretary? Is a deputy something or another?
Same. What Trump put RFK in.
Here's the funny thing, though. Okay, so Rachel Levine, not only a man pretending to be a woman, but as assistant director of HHS or whatever it was, he was obese. Yeah. He was obese.
Well, that's the hormones, Dan.
Is that what it is? The hormones?
That is the number one complaint I have learned from women, is that the estrogen and progesterone can be such a downer, and it can assist in weight gain, whereas with men, testosterone helps burn fat. So yeah, the jowls on that individual were quite remarkable, for being honest.
You know what?
Rivaled some Thanksgiving turkeys I'd seen.
Yes, well, she needs some of that RFK Jr. sauerkraut. That's what he needed. Did I say she? I'm sorry, I meant he.
Well, but then don't forget, what was the deputy secretary of nuclear waste or whatever?
Oh my gosh,
Sam. Steal your dress at the airport, whoever.
Yeah, the guy that stole dresses.
Bald with a colored mustache.
Yeah, and the red lipstick.
Yeah.
What was his name, Jay? What was that guy's name?
I can see this person, but I can't tell
he
you
stole
the name.
luggage and dresses and the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
And
Sam Brinton.
Okay, Sam Brinton.
Yeah. I thought it was a Photoshop accident at first when I first saw his picture.
Oh, it was just ridiculous.
I'm like, someone's being really funny. They took a really ugly dude and put him in a dress.
Okay, coming up next, this is a horrifying story, and we're going to talk about this alleged drug mix-up at Ascension St. Thomas in Nashville.
Just horrible story.
It is. We're going to talk about it coming up next, 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as weather goes, going to be hot today. Big shocker there, but going to be have some highs about 88 to 90 degrees. Feels like 95, 96, 97. So, Jay, you've been reporting this story. Ascension St. Thomas Hospital in Midtown says that at least 4 patients were left harmed during what they're calling an unspecified event. But one of these patients has now been left paralyzed. And apparently it's because of some sort of a medication mix-up. She was given potassium chloride during surgery, and she was going in for, like, what was it, a knee surgery?
Knee replacement. Yeah, went in. They were, hey, here's the epidural. And they shot her up with potassium chloride, reportedly, according to the family.
And this is one of 4 mix-ups.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know about what happened with the other 3.
Right. The hospital, citing patient confidentiality and HIPAA stuff, says they're not going to comment on the other 3. But it's the family, Dorton is their last name, that has come out and spoken to the media about all of this, claiming that, their 72-year-old mom went in for knee replacement, got
shot up with this.
And now she's paralyzed from the chest down.
Oh.
So part of it, potassium chloride used to be used, Jay had it in a newscast earlier, as part of the formula for lethal injection. And specifically when it's given in an epidural form, as to where it is shot up, it can cause temporary paralysis. It says temporary, but what is required, it's a well-known effect called severe hyperkalemia. And so basically the potassium chloride itself is simply a common source of bioavailable potassium ions, and these ions bind and don't allow these nerves to fire. So she's got no way to control or feel right now, but it's not that it is damaged anything, it's just blocking the ability for it to do it. So it's possible, and in fact, what I grokked it and everything, they haven't said it's permanent yet. It's possible if they get her potassium level sorted back out that she could recover from it.
Right. The family reportedly consulting with doctors to determine if it will be permanent for this lady. So, as Sam mentions, it does seem that it potentially is reversible, quote unquote. Let's certainly hope so.
Hopefully. I mean, I'm just kind of curious as to what people, what may have happened. It's like, did somebody misread the vial, or was the vial or the bag or whatever, was it mislabeled? Like, where did they?
Grok is saying that it was a pharmacy mix-up.
Yeah.
So when they send the orders down from whatever floor they're on, it all goes to one pharmacy in that wing of the hospital. And basically then the pharmacy brings it up and sometimes passes it along to the nurse or whoever to administer, depending on what the medication is. So apparently the other people affected by this mix-up were also all joint replacement surgeries or joint surgeries as well.
Yeah, if there's a pharmacist mix-up, ooh. So
it's a bad day for somebody.
Yeah.
And if it happened with, 4 different patients.
I know it. Well, all of us that have been in the hospital, you got the band, the ID bracelet thing, and, they check that thing and scan it. It's barcodes on it. I mean, I can't see that it was an error on somebody's part that administered it. It seems like that perhaps they were just administering the wrong drug that was dispensed by the pharmacy.
Yeah.
You know, my son actually is a pharmacist in a hospital. This is in the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
Ask him what happened.
Well, I tell you what, something that he tells me that shocked him since he has been doing this for a few years now is how many times he has to correct the physicians on what they administer.
Wow.
He says it happens more often than you would be comfortable with. I mean, more than once would be uncomfortable for me, but he will say that he tells me there are so many times when the doctors don't really determine what else a patient may be receiving. So they're, hey, you can't give the patient this drug because he's taking this other drug.
Yeah.
And, they conflict. He says you would be amazed at how many times he has to notify a physician about, look, you can't give this person this because it'll kill them because of the other drugs they may be taking.
Let's see here. 0276 says, I'm a nurse. I promise you someone's head is going to roll.
Oh, yeah.
There should be multiple someones in this case. Because as Jay pointed out, it's all scanned these days, right? They're coming to you with a device. So they scan in a prescription that a doctor has, or a written order is you guess you would say when you're in a facility. That way they're going to get it to you, within the same hour or same day. If it's all tracked and scanned, there's going to be multiple instances where there was a failure to communicate, and it
checks and balances with all that.
Which your son, that's why we have those, because doctors do get things mixed up and confused. They do have a lot on their plate. They are more general practice in a lot of things. They specify, but they cover a very wide range of, even if they're a podiatrist, so they focus on one area of the body, they still have to cover a lot with it. And it is up to people like Jay Harper's son to make sure that they merit away, hey, these medications can't interact. Same with the nurses. That's why your nurse comes in and starts your IV, not your doctor.
So 1503 says that his lady friend who is a nurse in town, she tells me, he says, that even if the pharmacy screwed it up, the packaging is completely different, and that should have caused people to ask questions. Sally says, I'm praying that the woman's paralysis is temporary so that she can enjoy the millions and millions and millions of dollars that she is going to receive from the hospital's incompetency. Yeah, I can imagine the lawsuits are going to be aplenty.
Oh, my goodness.
But, I mean, even if it's temporary, she should be...
the emotional...
the emotional toll of, waking up from surgery and then, realizing you can't move your legs and then them telling you, well, we screwed up the bags or we screwed up the medication. Yeah. And now, I don't know how long it takes for them to fix this.
The problem being that specifically if potassium chloride is administered in an epidural fashion, it can have prolonged, and it can do more damage than if it just enters your system and overloads your potassium levels.
Yeah.
So whoever ends up handling this case is going to make sure that this family gets treated the way they deserve to be treated after what's happened.
Okay, so another person says, 0276 says that those IV bags are identical. Another person says somebody that they know works at St. Thomas and says that it was a mislabeling situation on the medicine. So, I mean, people are chiming in left and right. I have no idea what happened. My prayers go out to that 72-year-old woman and the family. Yeah, Glenda Dorton, 72 years old. Hopefully she'll be able to walk again, and hopefully they'll be able to find a way out of the paralysis. Thank you. That's what I meant. The paralysis.
I like paralysis. What wasn't that a president? No, that was Ulysses. Okay.
All right, good, Sam. Very nice. All right, it is 8:25 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Jay has the news coming up at 8:30. Jay.
Yes, sir, Dan. We'll have the latest twist in the debate over automatic license plate readers, raising some eyebrows in a couple of states. And I had mentioned this earlier. We were running long, so I didn't get to it, but we'll try to get to it here at the bottom of the hour. Amazon expanding drone deliveries. Kind of an interesting story. We'll get to that at the bottom of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at the Covered Patio. Of course, warmer weather means, generally speaking, you want to spend more time outside. Fall is coming. That is my favorite season to spend time out on my back patio. Now, if you don't have a back patio, well, my friends at the Covered Patio, they can build you one, and they can build you an amazing one. If you've already got a patio, they can help you upgrade it as well. Now, what can you do? If you've got a patio, well, then they've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep your patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. They also have patio covers, custom wooden decks, outdoor structures as well. They've got a ton of options with styles for every budget at the Covered Patio, so your back screened-in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. Now, at the Covered Patio, they're dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and your specific space. They've got a ton of options with styles for every budget. So come on, enjoy your home a lot more with an incredible patio upgrade from the Covered Patio. Reach out to the Covered Patio. Tell them I told you to reach out. 615-695-2407. 615-695-2407. Online, thecoveredpatio.com. $8:27 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. And, you know, I keep seeing over and over again in Dr. Horn's reviews at Vision for Life, his patients literally saying, I should not have waited. I couldn't agree more. Now, you know that this is where I went, Dr. Horn and Vision for Life. This is where I went for my vision correction surgery or procedure. That's one of the first things I said. Why did I wait so long? It's a big regret of mine because they did such a great job at Vision for Life. Before my lens replacement surgery, I did deal with the constant hassle of glasses and contacts, probably like a lot of you folks right now. Reading and driving and working, everything felt harder than it needed to be. Now, these days, I can see clearly at every distance, and it's honestly changed my day-to-day life. So when I read review after review from patients saying the same thing, I wish that I'd done this sooner, it really does hit home because, again, that was me as well. So listen, if you're dealing with age-related vision loss right now, maybe cataracts, maybe you're just tired of blurry vision, do yourself a favor and don't wait. Dr. Horn at Vision for Life takes the time to evaluate your eyes and create a plan that is right for you. The procedure is quick, recovery is fast, and the results are life-changing. Call them, tell them I told you to reach out. 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020, visionforlife.com, and tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. $8:29, Nashville's Morning News. Generator Supercenter. One of your biggest priorities in life is to protect your family. If the power goes out in your neighborhood, like we saw back in January, you need to get it back on quickly. My friends at the Generator Supercenter, they can help you with a backup home standby generator at a terrific price and outstanding customer service as well. I want you to go to their website right now and find out how you can save $500. Tell them Dan Mandis sent you to GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com and see how you can get started and, again, save $500. Now, at the Generator Supercenter, they do feature turnkey installation, certified plumbers and electricians, and service after the install, and a whole lot more. So the power goes out in your neighborhood, you've got a backup power generator, so your power goes right back on. At the Generator Supercenter, they also have their generators made right here in the good old US of A. So call them. Again, tell them I told you to reach out. Save that $500. 615-879-1952. 615-879-1952. And don't forget to check out their website, GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com, and see how you can save $500.
.32. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A forecast and a traffic report are coming up. The latest twist in the debate over automatic license plate readers raising some eyebrows in a couple of states. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
In Lucas County, Ohio, the law enforcement agency conducting the highest number of searches of flock camera data is not in neighboring Fulton County. It isn't even in Ohio.
Houston, there is a problem.
Pete Gherkin heads the Board of County Commissioners in Toledo and says Houston police have searched the Lucas County flock database over 71,000 times since June.
I was surprised. Why are they doing this?
Police say these may not have been specific searches of Lucas County, but nationwide searches of databases that include Lucas County.
Well, look up in the air. It's a toothbrush. No, it's a bag of chips. No, it's cat food. Well, ABC's Jim Ryan says Amazon is they're going to expand their drone delivery of everyday items to millions of potential customers.
In communities across 7 states, Amazon drones can be seen hovering over homes, lowering their payload of household items and then flying off to make their next delivery. Amazon Prime Air plans to serve nearly 500 cities and towns by the end of this year, dropping off packages within 60 minutes of the order being placed.
Well, they deliver this stuff to the wrong houses. I'm wondering how that may work out anyway. The Navy, they now face new scrutiny following the news that a destroyer, the USS Benfold, has had a major breakdown. Here's ABC's Karen Waugh. She's in D.C.
The 300 sailors on board reportedly had limited drinking water, no toilets, and no air conditioning after the ship suffered a complete loss of power. It was later towed to the Philippines for repairs. The Benfold was part of the fleet heading to the Middle East to relieve the USS Lincoln, whose crew has been at sea for a record 268 days as part of the war on Iran.
That is the latest news, traffic, and weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Thank you, Jay. 834 Super Talk 99.7. Brentwood Jewelry. This is the official jewelry store of my house. I love these folks. My favorite watch came from Brentwood Jewelry. Amy's favorite earrings came from Brentwood Jewelry as well. You should go to Brentwood Jewelry if you need jewelry. If you need a special gift for that special someone, go to my special place, Brentwood Jewelry. They've got incredible selections of watches for both men and women for any budget. Great selections of Rolexes, both new and used as well. Now listen, if you're getting engaged, you cannot shank the ring, all right? They've got everything from wedding bands to semi-mount engagement rings and a whole lot more. My friends at Brentwood Jewelry, they are there for you. Guys, if you're looking for something for that special lady in your life, they do feature bracelets and earrings and necklaces and a whole lot more. And again, all at great prices and selection, outstanding customer service. Brentwood Jewelry, they love America just like we do. You walk in, flags all over the place. Find them online. It is BrentwoodJewelry.com, brick and mortar store, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Be sure and tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, BrentwoodJewelry.com. Exceptional styles, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. BrentwoodJewelry.com. .836 on Super Talk 99.7 at Ridgeside K9 Nashville. Listen, I call them the dog whisperers of Middle Tennessee. Now, you know, they've helped thousands of dogs and their owners over the last 25 years solve behavioral issues. They can help you and your dog as well. Again, Ridgeside K9 Nashville. If your dog has aggression issues, potty problems, anxiety, basic obedience, they can help you help your precious dog with just about anything. But what I love about Ridgeside K9 Nashville is that they believe that owner education is just as important as dog training. Long-term success with your dog begins with you and Ridgeside K9 Nashville. They've got a lifetime support guarantee. They are there for you 24/7. So check them out today online, rsk9nash.com. Letter K, number 9, rsk9nash.com. Call them 615-878-0380, 615-878-0380. Find them online, rsk9nash.com, Ridgeside K9 Nashville. Veteran-owned, proven results, and guaranteed for life.
In Sumner County, some construction delays. I-65 southbound between exits 104 and 98. Look for some stop and go traffic there. And Williamson County, this is I-840 westbound at the Almaville Road exit. Some police activity there. Apparently they got somebody pulled over. And we had an overturned vehicle earlier, 440 eastbound, right before exit 7 when you dump onto 24. That has been pulled off the roadway. It's now over on the left shoulder. I'm Jay Harper.
Please do.
8:39, Nashville's morning news. Do you know what
the audacity to complain about the hip hop intros?
Is this
what
who this is? Is this Audacity? Is this the name of the band, Audacity? It's Alice in Chains. I know that.
I'm even more upset now than I was before.
Really?
Yes.
Hey, have you been paying attention?
I was in a good mood until that song came on.
Well, this is like music to hang yourself by.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez Louise,
Whoa.
man.
What?
Whoa.
This is drinking alone in the garage music.
Dan,
God bless.
whoa.
988, if you're feeling that way.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm just saying, this is like really depressing music. I say the same thing. By the way, just so we're clear, I say the same thing about, is it Alison Krauss? I think I say that about Alison Krauss too.
What?
Amy, if you're listening, do I say that about Alison Krauss? I think it's Alison Krauss.
How dare you?
Warranted.
It's that kind of song that makes you want to kick out the chair from underneath yourself.
Oh my gosh.
What? I'm playing off of what Dan said. That's not funny, Mandis.
I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm saying that this, whatever. You know what? You guys do this without me.
Put on Mac Miller or something. Where's Tech 9 when we need him? Nobody ever thinks about kicking the chair out from under themselves when they're listening to Tech 9.
Okay, so Amy says yes, it is Alison Krauss, who I always say, it's like music to hang yourself by.
What?
988. Oh, Alison. You know what? Music is supposed to be uplifting.
The casual 988 drops from you guys. What in the world?
All right, I'm sorry. Whatever. Was that wrong? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I think it was right to drop the 988, but it was wrong how we got there.
I'm sorry. By the way, my camera is not working. So is Chris's camera working?
Yeah.
You know, how is it that a 13-year-old in his mother's basement can figure out this daily streaming stuff? Yet here we are, multi-million-dollar corporation.
Yeah. And we can't get our camera going?
It's just,
I don't know.
Well, we have a nice shot of the back of your head, Dan.
Yeah.
let's
You know
go.
what we could have done,
Some people
Sam.
prefer that.
Yes, that's what I hear.
So I said earlier that our camera wasn't working for me. I said you're welcome to people. So because I knew that was coming, right?
I'm just gonna do. We're gonna mock up some Grok videos of me, fighting dinosaurs, and that's gonna be our view for today.
Maybe that's what you could do. Why didn't you do that, Sam?
Lazy. He's lazy.
Lazy.
That's why.
Anyway,
Wasted all my energy troubleshooting it. Thank you very much.
Oh, my 5 o'clock hour.
I was ready to kick the chair out from under myself.
Do you know how I usually?
Is that why? Was that where the music choice came from? It's a ripple effect from the 5 a.m.
Randy, first of all, I do know who. See, now the peanut gallery is chiming in.
Oh, don't put Randy in the peanut gallery.
Randy says, does Dan even know who Alison Krauss is? Yes, Alison Krauss. She does albums with Robert Plant, first of all, which are very good. But what?
And Union Station.
Yeah, and Union Station, of course. But no, Amy puts it on and it's like, oh my Lord.
Well, she does a lot of nice bluegrass up-tempo stuff. I mean, she's one of my favorite vocalists, Dan. She'll be at the Ryman Auditorium September 20th. The show's sold out.
I've offended the delicate sensibilities of Jay Harper.
I know. I kept my lip buttoned, but you've crossed the line, Dan.
Okay. The Ryman is the coolest, most uncomfortable venue that you'll ever be able to watch a concert at.
Especially if you get stuck behind a pole.
Uncomfortable?
Yes.
Why uncomfortable?
Yeah, those
wooden
benches.
seats.
Yeah, those benches.
Pews.
The pews.
It feels like I'm on the bleachers at a kid's baseball game.
Is the Ryman where I saw Post Malone?
You're going to have to tell me, Dan.
Yeah.
Amy, is the Ryman where we saw Post Malone? No, I saw him at Opryland. Is Opryland the same thing as?
No.
What, the Opry
Okay,
House?
so I saw Post Malone at Opryland.
At the Opry
Opryland
House?
is incredible. Please stop. Is that you, Sam? Is this going to get me kicked off of YouTube?
See, he's picking something that's like 20-some-odd years old, a Keith Whitley remake.
Yeah.
What's the song that they used to show all the sad puppies with? Play that one.
That was Sarah McLachlan.
Sarah McLachlan, yeah.
In the Arms of an Angel.
But Sarah McLachlan in the same.
How many dogs do you think she actually saved?
What? What did you just say?
How many dogs do you think she actually saved?
Help me with the joke.
With the Arms of the Angel lady? You don't remember the puppy commercial where it'd be like sad dogs with eye boogers? They'd be like, there's so many dogs that are falling apart right now.
For just $2 a day.
Yes, with Sally Struthers.
I mean, the marketing was way better. I was more likely to donate to the dogs than the kids.
Yeah.
Do you think more dogs were saved or more kids? back when these commercials were competing.
So somebody apparently knows Alison Krauss.
Tell her to call in.
And they're texting in. Hey Dan, I'll let her know. I'll let Alison Krauss know what you said about her music.
That's hilarious.
Jay and myself are fans. You let them know.
Right. Let them know that.
Yeah, okay, you know what?
Can you open the phone lines? Can we have Allison call in to debate Dan?
Ow, ow, ow. But please take it off. I can't
always thought,
seriously.
what's the issue? All dogs go to heaven.
Oh, that
Wouldn't
movie's
they
hard.
be in a better place?
That is a rough movie.
All dogs go to heaven?
Yeah. That makes me think of the Alison Krauss
It
music.
took Burt Reynolds 70 takes to finish that movie after his co-star was literally murdered by her father. And
you know what?
Last line is him saying he'll see her
See
again.
4417.
Yeah. Did I say Opryland as opposed to Grand Ole Opry?
Yep.
Okay, I saw Post. Sam, you're slipping.
No,
You know
I let you roll.
Did you let that one
Yeah.
slide right through?
I want to see what the reaction is.
Yeah, I was trying to say the Opry House.
Grand Ole Opry is where I saw Post Malone. I did not see Post Malone at Opryland unless he was like 5 when Opryland was actually still in.
Matt Murphy also texted me and you on the group chat. He said, you saw Post Malone at Opryland?
Yeah, he was 5, Matt.
Opryland closed in like 98.
By the way, I got an issue with Murphy's show.
Tell me, because I too have an issue with Murphy's show. It's more of a general issue, mine, but you go ahead first.
So the other day, my phone starts blowing up when I'm asleep from people saying that Matt is on the air calling me a liberal.
Oh.
That liberal leftist fence sitter, I think it was, Dan Mandis.
I thought this had to do with what happened yesterday when he was going through the WTN app and he found out that there's no Dan Mandis on demand. There's Chris Hand on demand. There's Matt Murphy on demand. There's Chad Benson on demand. But there's no Dan Mandis on demand.
Are you kidding me, really?
It's Dan Mandis by request only.
Can I just say, what is wrong? Well, maybe I'm getting fired today.
Ooh. I would like to go on the record that I will not be taking Dan's shift. I would never sign up for the absolute torture that you put yourself through on a daily basis.
I did so a couple of things. Number one, I'm a little irritated, actually a lot irritated that there's no Mandis on demand. What the heck? I always get the crap end of the stick, and I don't understand
Mandis
why.
by request only. So he was calling you a liberal?
Yeah, Matt was calling me. Maybe that's why I don't have Mandis on demand. Maybe because I'm a liberal.
Is it because you wouldn't say
people
who
volunteering for public service? Does Dan Mandis not like democracy? Does Dan Mandis not like our representative form of government?
That sounds like those ads.
Dan Mandis hates democracy. And he kicks puppies. What does Dan Mandis have against Jackson Williams? And puppies. Williams, a man of the people. Mandis, a man of the elite. He wore a hat during company pictures. What kind of man wears a
hat during company pictures? Really? Is that a sign that I'm a commie? Now, just so we can.
I didn't know you kicked puppies. Is that the new thing?
They're claiming that you took Jackson's big orange sign down.
If they're pit bulls. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, I did not take Jackson's sign for governor down. I don't know who did, but it wasn't me.
He proceeds to then claim he can make fun of you because you're already in bed.
You know what? It's actually, I wake up in the morning. I just happen to be awake like when this happened the other day. But typically I wake up and all my DMs are filled on X and Facebook and Messenger with, oh, you should hear what Matt Murphy's saying about you. And I'm like, oh, my Lord.
Here we go.
What?
No, it's just that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, but I'd rather wake up to that than that music you were playing there with, what's her name? Alison Krauss and Sarah McLachlan, or whatever her name is. So.
Keep kicking puppies. We're going to need to get Sarah in here.
Yeah.
So just so we're clear, I don't kick puppies.
Kids said a slow motion.
That sounds a lot.
What?
That sounds a lot like something that somebody who kicks puppies would say.
You know what? I would kick a pit bull, but it would eat my foot.
It's true.
So I'm totally kidding. Pit bull people get mad when I
you
say
can't
things
kick,
like that.
You got to shoot them. I mean, those dogs are vicious.
Oh my God.
They're vicious. They're vicious. You don't want to get into a fist fight with a pit bull.
You know, when you try to shoot a pit bull, it'll eat the gun.
It just starts crapping out bullets.
Josh says, what kind of man? A mandis.
Trevor says Dan kicks cats.
Do you know what? Cats aren't worth my time. I don't like cats.
Based.
I think they're aliens.
You know what's cuter than the cutest cat on the planet?
What?
Any dog.
That is so true. So it's funny you talked about me being tired or whatever it was you said a few minutes ago. I tried to take a video of me yesterday, and I couldn't do it. I looked horrible. And I actually sent the video to my wife, and I said, wife, do I really look this bad?
I thought you were going to say that your phone said face not detected.
And she said, oh, no, honey, you look ... great, is the response I got back. But then she said I looked fine. But anyway, so yeah, these hours, man, they do take their toll. Like I constantly feel like I look tired. I actually liked when I wore glasses. Not that I'm not upset with Dr. Horn. I love what he did for me. But I liked wearing glasses because it actually hid the bags under my eyes. So now I've got nothing hiding the bags under my eyes.
You've got nothing on the George Soros bags, though.
No, you're right. George Soros or the guy from Star Wars. I keep talking about his hands. Who is it?
Palpatine. Oh, come on. Why'd you have to give it to him? He did a whole bit on this the other day.
Another 5 years of mornings before I retire. I'm going to look like Palpatine, man. Oh, my Lord.
Probably talk like him, too. Where your voice gets worn out halfway through the day.
I know. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. The Pitbull people. You ready? You just lost 50% of your listeners with that Pitbull joke. I'm guessing 99% of them have those Shih Tzus and French Bulldogs.
The math ain't math in there.
Yeah.
How do I lose 50% of my audience when 99% of them don't have pit bulls?
Oh, 4411 says Mandis On Demand was added to the 99.7 homepage yesterday evening. Okay.
Why is it not called On Demandus?
Oh, let's go.
Well done, Sam.
They don't pay me for that.
Let's go.
Here's the thing that ticks me off, though. How long was it not there? Do you know what I mean?
Longest tenured host on the station.
And by the way, yeah, I have 12 and a half years now. How long was...
I'm sure it slipped through the cracks back when you were program director.
It was. Listen, it was on there when I was the PD, so I don't know what happened. It's been a couple years now.
Was it removed?
I don't know. You know what? They do these things. I don't want to go south on the company, but they do these things. They call them updates. I'm air quoting, which people can't see because my camera's not working. But they do these updates and stuff just like, I don't know, changes. So, but I know that Mandis On Demand or Demandis was, was there a couple of years ago. But you know what? So I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but do you know when we had that thing over at that place a couple of days ago in Murfreesboro, Hop Springs? And they did
hip hop.
I was gonna let you drown with that one
for
as long as we could go.
So
it was at the Hip Hop Anonymous.
So you at Hop Springs where they came up with the AI graphic and I don't look anything like me.
No, you look like Dave Ramsey without a goatee.
Yeah. Well, it's the same guy that is in charge of that made sure that my Mandis On Demand wasn't there. So I'm thinking that the dude has a problem with me apparently because he's makes me look not like me.
When you go to your Hip Hop Anonymous meeting, you can talk about this.
It was Dave Ramdis.
And now my Mandis On Demand hasn't been up for who knows how long.
Murphy says don't feel bad. He said as of a week ago, Brian Wilson was still hosting The Drive, according to our app.
Oh, my God. Who is in charge? Well, I'm not getting... Nope. Not going to go south.
And corporate's like, can you stop saying iHeart and tune in and promote our app?
How about no? You listen to our app, you get, like, Spanish commercials on an English radio station.
It's Spanish commercials and Sanjay Gupta. I feel like Sanjay Gupta is part of WTN lore at this point, though.
Sure is. Let's see here. Moving right along. Can't get that off, so whatever. Let's see here. Yeah, people are mad at me for the pit bull thing. You know what? Chris said they should be shot. I only said they should be kicked.
Did I? Did I say that?
You did.
He said it was the only way to stop them.
I said if you're in a fight with them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I would initiate the fight the way you did.
3686 says, I'm mad at you, Dan. How can you kick cats? I've never kicked a cat. Can I not have, like, just a moment of fun?
I love how everyone's giving you crap about that, but you literally said this is hang yourself music when the segment started, and no one batted an eye.
Nobody cared about that. Oh, you're talking about people? That's fine. Don't you dare mention my dog.
It's terrible, man. All right, we got... I'm totally confused. Am I done with commercials, Sam?
Craft body scan one more time.
Okay, very good. 8:56, and you've got Jay Harper doing the news coming up at 9. Jay.
Yes, sir, Dan. An illegal immigrant arrested for a June Nashville hit-and-run incident. It's pretty amazing. Also, a battle over separation of church and state in Texas. We'll have those stories at the top of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$8.58, Super Talk 99.7. You know, it really doesn't matter how old you are. Sometimes ailments like cancer, heart disease, they can creep up on you. And that's why I love what Kraft Body Scan offers you, a reasonably priced way to get the scans you need to make sure that you're okay. Now, some folks don't want to know, but you really do need to know. Your family depends on you being there for them over the long haul. Your family, your kids, your grandkids, etc. So right now, Kraft Body Scan, they want to make that happen. They're offering you a great deal just for my listeners. They're offering you some of these great scans, some of these life-saving scans. Their couples heart and lung scan, valued at over $2,500 for just $99. That's right. Again, I'm going to repeat that. It is a great deal. Their couples heart and lung scan, valued at over $2,500 right now for listeners to my show, just $99. Got to use promo code DAN50. That's promo code DAN50. Don't hope you're okay. No, you're okay with Kraft Body Scan. Find them online. It is craftbodyscan.com. TogetherWeScan.com is that website. TogetherWeScan.com as well. You can also call them 615-436-1000, 615-436-1000. TogetherWeScan.com, promo code DAN50.